Chapter 23. Chapter 23. When this sword is out, what can compare to its sharpness? Qin Feng, your elder's going to screw this sexy teacher of yours right in front of you, then make you wah as the Qin family's empire collapses. I'm going to make sure you see your dad get sent into jail and turn you from an invincible, hedonistic young master into a penniless beggar. Haha, that feeling of falling from heaven into hell will definitely feel great. Make sure you savor it well. Before Qin Huang had picked up, Mada, who was already acting extremely confidently, as if he had already grasped success in his hands. He looked at Yuan Shao lasciviously as he evilly grinned and walked towards her. Seeing Mada, whose wicked and ugly expression, Yuan Shao was so scared that she curled up into a ball and desperately screamed, "You beast, piss off. Get away from me." A trace of a cold smile appeared on Qin Feng's face as he did his best to stall for time and absorb the effects of the rank 2 strength potion. However, when he had absorbed half of it, his body stopped reacting and absorbing it. Qin Feng couldn't wait anymore after seeing Mada, whose evil look on his face. His eyes were red with lust as he looked at Yuan Shao and was about to pull off her clothing. Qin Feng gave a low shout as he sprang over. This shout came too suddenly. It was shocking and sounded like a furious lion that had just woken up. Mada, who was so scared that he fell to the ground. Qin Feng exerted his strength and broke the rope tying his body into pieces, escaping from his bondage. "You little scumbag, before you toy with this young master, your granddaddy's going to give you a big gift. Make sure your hands don't shake and that you receive this gift properly." Qin Feng grinned as he rushed towards Mada, who. His supposed big gift scared Mada, who into trembling. He truly didn't dare to casually receive this gift. This was a goddamn sharp sword that was 1 meter long. He had no idea where Qin Feng had gotten it out from. The 4 bodyguards were indeed retired veterans who had experienced hundreds of battles. They were able to immediately react, and they sprang towards Qin Feng. Qin Feng had no choice but to change the direction of his sword and swung it towards the 2 people in front. Poochie. The sound of a blade cutting through flesh sounded out, and the air around him slightly trembled and hummed. A sharp aura shot out and filled the entire room. The true steel sword in his hands radiated a faint yellow light and could cut through iron like mud. As Qin Feng slashed out, he instantly chopped through the 2 people's waists, splitting them in half. Their blood furiously spurted out without stopping. This was the might of the true steel sword, ranked last out of Yu Wang's 8 legendary swords. When this sword is out, what can compare to its sharpness? Even Qin Feng was inwardly greatly shocked. This was the first time he had used the true steel sword to fight, and he never would have thought that this ancient sword would still be so sharp. This scene came too suddenly and looked incredibly shocking. The remaining 2 people abruptly stopped and stared in shock at Qin Feng holding the sword. It was as if they had seen a ghost. After a moment, the 2 people came back to their senses, but the surprise within their eyes remained. Despite being so close, neither of them had seen where Qin Feng had taken out this sharp sword from. "Qin Feng, you're goddamn mad." Seeing the bloody scene, Mada, who was dumbfounded. He was marveling at how lucky he had been that he hadn't tried to do anything stupid like tying the sword as they did on TV. Otherwise, he would have been split in half. Just thinking of that, Mada, who uncontrollably trembled. The remaining 2 people looked at Qin Feng alertly, and their might disappeared. Neither of them dared to take the initiative to attack Qin Feng. Qin Feng swung the sword around, producing a humming sound. Since he had started killing, he was going to kill until he was satisfied. His feet lightly tapped the ground as he sped towards the 2 people. He quickly arrived before them and slashed out. In an instant, blood splattered all over the ground as the true steel sword cleft them into 2. The entire room was now filled with the strong stench of blood. In just a few breaths, the entire situation had been overturned. Mada, who was so frightened and couldn't stand it anymore, so he tried to turn and flee. He never would have thought that after so much plotting, Qin Feng had destroyed his plans just like that. However, just as he stood up, Mada, who crashed back down to the ground. His legs had long since lost all strength and wouldn't listen to him. He could only watch Qin Feng, holding his meter-long sword, walked towards him like a demon, step by step. Ding! The Hedonist sovereign system has issued a quest. Investigate the contact person behind Ma Hu and his father. Quest time limit: 1 month. Successfully completing the quest will result in you receiving 500 Hedonist points. Failing will result in the host suffering a bloody catastrophe. What? What do you want? Seeing the sword that had killed 4 people in a row land on his shoulders, Ma Hu felt a warmth in his pants and found that he had wet his pants. Tell me, who gave you the gall to oppose my Qin family? Qin Feng stared at Ma Hu coldly as he inwardly cheered. This quest had come just at the right time. Qin Feng was already excited about the 500 Hedonist points. Poochie. Qin Feng did not hesitate at all. He lowered the sword and one of Ma Hu's arms flew out. The pain of losing an arm caused Ma Hu to scream horrifically. Arg! It hurts. I'm going to die. Qin Feng, you're freaking crazy. You're a goddamn demon. Qin Feng's expression remained calm and cool, as if he was a cold god of death standing straight in front of Ma Hu. He wasn't sure why, but when he held the true steel sword, he felt as if his entire aura had changed. Ma Hu, an ordinary person who couldn't fight at all, was just like a mosquito to him. Qin Feng turned the sword as he said in a low voice, I'll give you one last chance. Who gave you the guts to oppose my Qin family? I. Before Ma Hu finished speaking, Qin Feng cut him off. Qin Feng could already tell that Ma Hu still wanted to lie because his eyes were rapidly glancing around. Qin Feng put a bit more strength into the true steel sword, causing the sword to slightly sink into Ma Hu's flesh and bones. The pain caused his face to become even paler. Before you speak again, think about the feeling in your right arm. It's not worth it for you to become a cripple to cover for someone else. Save an arm for yourself, so you can at least masturbate in the future. Qin Feng's words cut into Ma Hu's heart. It simply wasn't worth it to give up his life to help someone else deal with Qin Feng. Plus, what Qin Feng said about masturbation was quite true. After all, he couldn't use his feet. If his feet odor spread to his privates, that would be troublesome. Spare me, young Master Qin. Spare this little one. I'll tell you everything. Ma Hu simply couldn't hold on anymore. He was like a deflated ball as he trembled and spoke. All of this was because of... Chapter 24. Chapter 24, Qin Residence. Before Ma Hu could finish his sentence, Qin Feng suddenly felt a cold aura behind him that made it hard for him to breathe. He hurriedly turned around and saw a black shadow disappear like a ghost. He looked back at Ma Hu and found that a throwing knife was buried in between his eyebrows. The throwing knife was buried deep into his head, and his eyes were wide with a look of confusion and reluctance. Ma Hu was dead. Killing to silence him, the mastermind was quite vicious. Since Ma Hu was already dead, Qin Feng didn't plan to continue to stay there. The main reason was because that person in black had been too strong, and it made Qin Feng feel like he was facing death. He quickly picked up Yun Xiao and left. They left the abandoned factory and Qin Feng drove in the Lamborghini with Yun Xiao. Neither of them said anything. Yun Xiao's gaze was erratic, and her voluptuous body couldn't help but shiver. Evidently, she had been deeply frightened by the scene of Qin Feng killing people with his sword. However, Qin Feng didn't know how to comfort Yun Xiao. The appearance of that person in black had also disorientated him. He was already lucky to make it out alive. Qin Feng was currently wondering which side that person in black stood on, and why they hadn't attacked him. After taking Yun Xiao home, Qin Feng drove quickly to the Royal Hotel. On the way, he had given Uncle Fu a call, and as soon as he got out of the car, he saw Uncle Fu waiting for him outside the entrance. "Young master, are you all right?" Uncle Fu asked with concern as he saw Qin Feng. In actuality, Uncle Fu didn't even need to ask. After all, he had always been protecting Qin Feng from the shadows. "I'm fine, Uncle Fu. Have you investigated Ma Long for me?" 10 minutes ago, Uncle Fu had already collected all information on Ma Long. From the records of when he started kindergarten To what he had been doing the previous day, there was nothing missing. This was the terrifying might of the Acropolis City's Qin family. "Young master, let us talk in the car. Mr. Qin found out what happened and is very worried about you. He asked that you go see him," Uncle Fu replied. The two of them came to the Mercedes-Benz. Uncle Fu drove while Qin Feng sat at the back. Ma Hu, male, 47 years old, the gang leader of the Acropolis City's Southeast Flying Dragon Gang. Recently, he's been busy with the Dragon Security Company's development, so there have not been any abnormal movements from him in his private life, Uncle Fu spoke as he drove. Could it be that even Mada, whose dad didn't know about him going against the Qin family? Qin Feng wondered. I've also investigated Mada Hu, but didn't find anything suspicious either. The mastermind has hidden themselves quite deeply, and they are quite powerful as well. It seems that the Qin family is going to go through a crisis. In future, please be careful when going out, young master. He couldn't help but frown as he thought back to that masked person's throwing knife. That person was just as strong as him and was a rare expert. For the mastermind to have such an expert as a subordinate, how could they not be powerful? After quickly driving for a while, the Mercedes-Benz arrived at the northwest of the Acropolis City at the base of the massive walls. Two giant words were written on the walls: Qin Residence. A large mountainous area was within the walls, which took up a large portion of the northwest region of the Acropolis City. The Qin family's foundation was located here. It was located against a large mountain, with an endless view of forest on either side. The security there was absolute first-rate as well. On the high walls were a row of muscular men wearing suits. After confirming the car with binoculars, they hurriedly opened the gates and allowed them in. As they drove in, they drove past a small forest before coming to the inner region of the Qin residence. In front of them was a luxurious-looking villa. "Qin Air, Uncle Fu, you're here." As Qin Feng and Uncle Fu got out of the car, a man wearing a white tang suit walked over. He was tall and burly with a stalwart face. It was the richest man in the Acropolis City, Qin Huang. "Dad." Qin Feng bowed towards Qin Huang. This was one of the traditions passed down in their family. "Qin Air, you're back." Qin Huang's sharp and black eyes looked up and down Qin Feng. Seeing that he was uninjured, he felt incredibly relieved. "Dad, there's something I want to talk to you about. Let's go upstairs." "Okay, let's go. Dad also has something he wants to talk to you about." Uncle Fu stood guard at the villa's entrance. The father and son came to the top floor of the villa, where there was a terrace. At the center of the terrace was a place for barbecues, and to the right was a reasonably sized open-air swimming pool. Qin Feng was sweaty from his battle, so he took off his clothes and jumped into the pool. After swimming a lap, he stuck his head out as he took in a deep breath and said, "Dad, there's someone who wants to take down our Qin family. They seem to have a powerful background." Qin Huang was sitting under an umbrella as he drank red wine. His unfathomable eyes gazed into the distance. From here, one could see nearly half of the Acropolis City, and even the southeast night lights could be seen from there. "Qin Air, it must have been hard on you. You've indeed grown up." Qin Huang suddenly looked at Qin Feng as he said seriously, "Uncle Fu has already spoken to me about this. This enemy won't be easy to deal with, but our Qin family isn't easily bullied either. I've already dealt with Feng Dewei. A few minutes ago, he was taken away by people from above him and will be punished accordingly. As for the Ma family's father and son, I'll get someone to make them disappear." "Dad, have you found anything? Do you know who's behind this?" Qin Feng swept his head back as he earnestly asked his father. Finding out who was behind Mada, who was a quest from the hedonist sovereign system, Qin Feng couldn't not place importance on it. Qin Huang's eyes flashed with a poisonous look, comparable to that of a snake. He was full of anger thinking about the fact that someone was plotting against the Qin family and had even nearly harmed Qin Air. 20 years ago, he had brought the newly born Qin Feng to Acropolis City. After 20 years of struggling and building up from nothing, he had finally arrived to where he was. During this period of time, there had been countless enemies in the open and in the shadows, and he had experienced many storms. This man, who was as grand and imposing as a mountain, had never frowned because of these things before. However, this time, after thinking for a while, Qin Huang felt quite disappointed and showed a hint of worry as he said, "We couldn't find anything useful. The enemy this time is quite powerful, so Qin Air, you have to be especially careful from now on. Make sure you take Uncle Fu with you wherever you go. I'm just worried that this time it's those people from the capital." AI, let's not talk about this. Qin Huang suddenly stopped speaking and didn't say what he had been suspecting. He felt that it wasn't the right time to talk to Qin Feng about these things yet. He breathed in deeply and the heavy look on his face disappeared, replaced with a warm smile as he said, "You stinking brat. I heard from Uncle Fu that you secretly learned an external fist technique." "Ahaha, not at all. I was just playing around and learned some tricks." Qin Feng was afraid that his father would investigate his Thunder Tiger Fist skill, so he awkwardly screwed his head as he tried to play it down. It wasn't that he didn't trust his father, but this system was simply too incomprehensible. Even if he told his dad, he doubted that he would believe him. "Don't try to pretend in front of your OL dad. Uncle Fu said that your fist technique is vigorous and mighty and is definitely top class. Apparently you must have trained for at least 10 years. Boy, you've hidden it quite well. Even your OL dad didn't notice anything." Qin Huang laughed as he patted Qin Feng's shoulder. "This is good news for you, so I won't ask where you learned it from. As long as you like it, you should continue to wholeheartedly train." Hearing this, Qin Feng inwardly let out a sigh of relief. Qin Huang continued to speak. "That's right. I recently transferred some of my shares to you. Next month, I want you to start working at the Royal Group. I'll get someone to teach you how to manage the group." Work? Manage the group? Qin Feng's mouth chewed and felt his dad was quite brave. Was he not afraid that he would run the company to the ground in 3 days? Qin Huang wanted him, a hedonistic young master, to go to work and manage the company? Qin Feng almost laughed out loud. "What are you smirking about? Stop mucking around and get serious. You're already 20 years old. When your dad was 20 years old, I just arrived at the Acropolis city with you. By that age, I experienced every sort of hardship. You, on the other hand, have lived such a good life and only know how to leech off your OL dad." Qin Huang suddenly became strict, and Qin Feng didn't dare to quibble with him. He put on an act of eagerly listening, and Qin Huang continued to speak. "There's one more thing. I've arranged a marriage for you in the capital." Fudge. Although he was in front of Qin Huang, Qin Feng couldn't help but curse out loud. This piece of news left him completely flabbergasted. He even completely forgot about the matter about going to work. He looked at Qin Huang in shock and horror, and after he recovered, he hurriedly protested, "Dad, you arranged another marriage for me? Last time with the Zhao family's Zhao Lingxian, you didn't even ask me before arranging the marriage. It was so hard for me to rescind that marriage, and yet you've done it again. Do you want to kill your child?" At that moment, Qin Feng felt like running into a wall and dying. He even began to wonder if Qin Huang had picked him up from the rubbish dump. "Stop being so ridiculous. How is a marriage going to kill you?" This time, Qin Huang didn't go along with what Qin Feng wanted. He steeled his face as he emphatically said, "You have the face to speak like that? Do you know how much trouble you brought to the Qin family by your selfish renunciation of the marriage with the Zhao family? You do nothing all day except sleep with girls. You're truly blind not to appreciate a good girl like Ling Xian. This time, I wanted to find you a better girl to tie you up with to change your attitude. If you dare to rescind this marriage, we'll see if your OL dad doesn't dare to break your dog legs." "If I have dog legs, then you also have dog legs, and your whole family have dog legs." Qin Feng inwardly grumbled, but he didn't dare to say such a thing out loud. He continuously pleaded with Qin Huang about this sudden marriage, but Qin Huang didn't give in at all. Finally, he could only gloomily leave the Qin residence. After today's events, Qin Feng realized that he was still quite weak. He was determined to do more quests to become stronger. After Qin Feng left, Qin Huang stood in front of a large French window, frowning as he looked out towards the vibrant city lights and spoke to himself. There's still 1 year until the Qin family's clan gathering. Could it be that those people couldn't resist and started to act now? Chapter 25. Chapter 25. breaking through his limits. Second young master, how should this person be disposed of? A young and arrogant-looking man wearing elegant clothes was comfortably lying on a sofa within a luxurious villa in the Acropolis city. His pair of sharp and cold eyes fell on Mada, whose body on the ground. Because he had died for quite a while, the blood on his body had already solidified. A piece of trash. He deserved his death. The man didn't sympathize with Mada at all, and didn't even bother looking for him for longer than necessary. It was this piece of trash who had caused his plot against the Qin family to fail. Even if Mada hadn't died, this second young master would have personally disposed of him. The masked person in front of this second young master was called Uncle Ghost. He came and left without a trace, and was extremely fast. That was why he was referred to as such. He was the expert who had killed Mada with the throwing knife in the abandoned factory. He waved his hand and two of his subordinates came over and dragged Mada's body away. In those two people's eyes, Mada's life was worth less than even that of an ant's. Before, the second young master was absolutely confident that his operation would cause the Qin family father and son to take a massive blow. He had first bribed a high-ranking employee at the Royal Hotel to video Qin Feng's actions, then kidnapped Qin Feng to force Qin Huang to give up his shares. Finally, he would have constructed some illegal structures using the royal group's businesses and taken down the Acropolis city's Qin family. However, things had not gone as planned, and everything was now a mess. Second young master, the intelligence on that brat, Qin Feng, was incorrect. He wasn't a weak and useless hedonist young master. Instead, his martial arts were quite good and he had a crafty mind. We've underestimated our enemies. Moreover, Yuan Fu was always guarding him from the shadows, so I didn't have any opportunity to kill him. Yuan Fu was Uncle Fu's real name. 20 years ago, this name that had incomparable power and could shake the martial arts world had disappeared, and very few people knew what happened to him. The only reason the masked man had not acted against Qin Feng was because he had discovered Uncle Fu's presence. The fact that Qin Feng knew martial arts was something that the second young master didn't expect. None of the intelligence he had gathered had mentioned this. However, from what Uncle Ghost said, Qin Feng had just reached the strength of a stage 2 expert. To the young man, this was nothing. So what if he knows martial arts? They're still too tender to fight against this young master. The young man's eyes flashed with a crafty look as he laughed. Uncle Ghost, leak to Mada Long that Mada was killed by Qin Feng. We can throw this chess piece away now. He won't be able to deal any fatal blows to Qin Feng. Go to the Acropolis city and find a few more people to work with, using criteria to choose powerful people. Right now, we still have 2 important chess pieces. It's time to use one of them. Haha. The Qin family is bound to fall at this young master's hands, sooner or later. By the time Qin Feng arrived at the Royal Hotel, it was already around 10 p.m. Zhang Biao was still waiting at room 665. He was standing at the door, keeping Hua with a savage glare towards the 3 women and 1 man. His natural demonic demeanor scared Feng Tianhua and the others into trembling. Young Master Qin, you're back. Seeing Qin Feng walk in, Zhang Biao quickly withdrew his furious gaze, and he walked over while smiling. Qin Feng glanced at the 3 people in the room and waved his hand, chasing them away. Since Feng Dewei had already been removed from his position, Feng Tianhua's life was going to fall from heaven to hell. This sort of punishment was even worse than beating him 100 times. Biao, did anyone go to room 666? Qin Feng asked once only Zhang Biao and himself were left in the room. Before he left, he considered that the mole in the Royal Hotel would return to room 666 to dispose of the camera. It was impossible for that camera to remain in the room forever with how the Royal Hotel was managed. As such, he arranged for Zhang Biao to stand guard here and monitor the situation. Zhang Biao didn't dare to neglect the duties given to him by Qin Feng in the slightest, and had continuously stood guard at the door. He had carefully observed the scene outside, and had actually discovered something. Young master, ever since you left until now, only a woman wearing the hotel's uniform entered. I saw that her name badge said Bai Qing. Zhang Biao respectfully replied, Bai Qing? Qin Feng raised his eyebrows. He never would have thought that the mole would have been that woman. She hadn't entered the royal hotel for very long, but had proved to be very capable. As such, she had quickly climbed up to the position of manager in the hotel. He never thought that Mada who would have placed her here as a mole. Ding! Congratulations, host Qin Feng, for identifying the mole in the royal hotel. You have received 100 hedonist points. The cold electronic voice confirmed that Bai Qing was definitely the mole. After confirming Bai Qing's identity, Qin Feng wasn't in a hurry to expose her. Right now, there was someone trying to take down the Qin family. The Qin family was in the light, while they were in the darkness. Now that he had lost Mada Hu, he wanted to use Bai Qing to uncover their identity. Qin Feng gave Zhang Biao some instructions, then allowed him to leave. Qin Feng was completely spent. He had used the Thunder Tiger Fist and the True Steel Sword to defeat 4 retired veterans, expending all of the energy he had. Right now, all he wanted to do was sleep. He lay on the soft bed in room 665 and prepared to sleep there for the night. After this crisis, Qin Huang did a sweep of all employees. Currently, the security at the Royal Hotel was abnormally strict. He was no longer worried about anyone coming in to plot against him. Qin Feng lay on the big bed and opened the Hedonist Sovereign System. There was still half of the rank 2 strength potion that he had not absorbed, and how much he had absorbed didn't seem to have increased any further from there. Lil Piggy, what's going on? Qin Feng asked in confusion. Master's body is too weak and can't withstand the increase in power the rank 2 strength potion would bring. Only by breaking through your limits can you completely absorb the potion. The little pig had run out from the system and was currently lying on Qin Feng's stomach, naughtily tickling him with its hooves. Break through the limit? How do I do that? Qin Feng froze for a second. He remembered that back when he had asked Uncle Fu about the weakness of the Thunder Tiger Fists, Uncle Fu had mentioned breaking through the limit. However, because he was worried that he would expose something, he didn't ask anything about it. And now, his body was limited and couldn't fully absorb the strength potion. So Qin Feng once again had to return to this question. Humans are a mysterious type of being. There are tens of thousands of elements that can be awoken. Once they break out, unimaginable power can be released. The little pig looked quite proud of its immense knowledge and raised its chubby little head as it said, I'm sure Master has seen on the news situations where a father has saved his child from under a car by lifting up a car that weighs thousands of kilograms. Also, after some people's bodies broke through their limits, their brain's reaction became incredibly fast. Some can add, minus, multiply, and divide 5-figure numbers in their heads incredibly quickly. These are all signs of breaking through the limit. After hearing what the little pig said, Qin Feng suddenly thought of the female hero, Huang Rong, from the legend of the Condor Heroes. She was able to calculate the cube root of numbers that were in the 10 millions, and could solve a simultaneous equation with 19 variables instantly. Although she was a figure from a wuxia novel, there were people like this in real life as well. There were probably a small handful of people whose brains had broken through the limit to such an extent. Chapter 26. Chapter 26, Crazily Refining His Body. The little pig continued to speak. According to the Hedonist Sovereign System's accurate calculations, a human's body can break through the limit 9 times. The further you go, the more difficult it becomes. After breaking through, your body will become stronger and will be able to store more power. Your abilities in various areas will also become more powerful. This process is called body refining. As long as Master continuously tempers his body, perseveres and grasps the opportunity to break through, breaking through the limits will actually be quite simple. The little pig shook its tail, annoyingly. Qin Feng rolled his eyes in frustration. It's not like you're the one that has to break through. Of course it would seem like that to you. Ding! The Hedonist Sovereign System has issued a quest. Break through the first layer of your body's limit. Quest time limit, 15 days. Successfully completing the quest will result in you receiving 200 hedonist points. Failing will result in the host's body never being able to break through. This quest's punishment was incredibly cruel. Qin Feng spent the entire night complaining and grumbling. In the early morning of early May, sunshine beamed on the Acropolis University, and there were quite a few people at the sports field. Some were doing morning exercise, while many more were pervs who had come to look at the long legs. Holy crap, what the hell is this? A male student who was drooling while looking at the beautiful legs around him suddenly cried out as if he had seen a ghost. In his field of vision, he suddenly saw two incredibly thick legs, with calves almost as thick as the thighs. For a leg fetishist, this was simply unacceptable. However, when he closely examined them, he found that these were a man's calves. Furthermore, it wasn't that his calves were incredibly thick, but that he had bound sandbags to them, using sandbags to lure in chicks in the morning. This guy is quite the determined one. The male student evidently believed that the other person had bound sandbags to their legs while running to attract girls. The male student picked his nose as he condescendingly looked towards the face of the person. He wanted to see just how ugly someone had to be to do such a thing. However, as soon as he saw who it was, he stared with wide eyes and a gaping mouth, as his snot dried on his finger. Fudge, is that the sensualistic young master, Qin Feng? Upon seeing Qin Feng's handsome appearance, the male student fell in a daze for a few moments before screeching in a high voice. He was completely dumbfounded. The young master of the Qin family was indeed the seducer sage. He had even put his life on the line in order to seduce girls. His shouts attracted the other students' attention. They all looked towards Qin Feng as their jaws dropped to the ground. Even the soccer team's players, who were burning with passion, stopped playing as they stared into the distance. These people probably wanted to gouge out their eyeballs and give them a good clean. Otherwise, why would they be hallucinating that the sensualistic young master, Qin Feng, was doing morning exercise? Zhao Lingxian was wearing a black exercise top and shorts and looked extremely stunning. Her exposed thighs were extremely eye-catching, and her tall and sexy figure was one of the reasons why she had persisted in doing morning exercise. Just like always, Zhao Lingxian came to the sports field in the early morning, preparing to work up a sweat. However, as soon as she walked onto the sports field, her pupils constricted, as a look of shock appeared in her beautiful eyes. Qin Feng? Isn't he usually dropped off and picked up by a chauffeur? That hedonistic young master who can't be bothered to even walk a few extra steps has come to do morning exercise? He even has sandbags bound to his legs, and each of them look they weigh at least 5 kilograms. Zhao Lingxian found that Qin Feng was becoming harder and harder to understand. Ever since the cocktail party, it was as if he had become a different person. Looking at him now, she felt as if his very nature had changed. He wasn't seducing women, but had instead come to the sports field to do morning exercise. Qin Feng had long since noticed the quiet discussions going on around him. He made a wry face. If it wasn't to break through his limits and become stronger, why would this young master come so early to do morning exercise? A 7.5 kilogram sandbag was bound to each of his legs, so he wasn't running very fast. However, his steps were filled with power, and he maintained a steady rhythm as he ran. Qin Feng's forehead was covered with sweat, but he didn't wipe it off. The loose muscles in his legs were slowly becoming tighter, and there was a look of extreme concentration on his face. He looked into the distance, determined to persevere until he broke through. There were no shortcuts to break through the limit. Only by tempering himself and persisting would he have the opportunity to break through. This was the path everyone who wanted to become strong had to pass through: body refining. Every strong person had walked step by step on this path, and Qin Feng was no exception. 1 lap, 2 laps, 3 laps. Qin Feng maintained a steady pace, not too fast and not too slow, and ran lap after lap on the sports field. 4 laps, 5 laps, 6 laps. Now, there were more and more people coming to watch. All of them made a large circle around the sports field, looking in surprise as they talked about Qin Feng. Qin Feng completely ignored the spectators who had come to have some fun. By the time he was on his 7th lap, he felt incredibly lethargic, as if his body had been emptied of all its strength. However, his eyes remained resolute, and he didn't even think about giving up. He continuously, inwardly muttered, "Hang on! This young master must hang on." 7 laps, 8 laps, 9 laps. Qin Feng's steady rhythm slowed down as he became slower and slower. By the end, it was as if he had stopped. However, those who were carefully observing found that he hadn't truly stopped, but was just moving at the pace of a snail. He was still taking tiny steps forwards. He was incredibly tired, and his eyes were almost closed. He looked as if he would fall asleep at any moment. His arms powerlessly hung by his side, and his legs were bent. His entire body was leaning forwards, and he looked like a zombie. However, he had never stopped, not even for a single moment. This was because deep in his subconscious, there was a voice continuously telling Qin Feng not to give up, that he couldn't give up no matter what. Seeing this scene, the completely packed sports field fell silent. All of the spectators had strange looks on their faces and breathed raggedly. If they hadn't personally seen this, no one would have believed that the hedonistic young master, Qin Feng, had such determination. A small voice suddenly cheered, "Do your best, young Master Qin." This voice was quite weak and shaky, but in the silent sports field, everyone heard it clearly. It sounded like thunder erupting in their hearts. Everyone's gaze immediately fell on Lin Bei Bei. Upon seeing this beauty with her gentle and weak demeanor, everyone's eyes lit up. After the introverted Lin Bei Bei suddenly became the focus of attention, she tightly gripped the corners of her clothes as an embarrassed and flustered look appeared on her face. She had heard people discussing that Qin Feng was running at the sports field, so she came to have a look in curiosity. Lin Bei Bei felt moved inwardly when she Qin Feng's resolute appearance. Thinking to all the help he had given her over the past few days, she suddenly raised her head and looked at Qin Feng, who was slowly advancing. Her expression became determined as she yelled out, "Keep going, Qin Feng. You can do it, Qin Feng." This voice was clear, resonant, and full of confidence. At this moment, there was only Qin Feng in her eyes. After the vast sports field fell silent, it was as if someone ignited a fuse which caused everyone to fire up. A loud shout came from Yun Xiao, like a troop of soldiers rushing into battle. "You can do it, young Master Qin. My God, young Master Qin, you're too cool. You have to hang on. I've already become your loyal fan. Young Master Qin, as long as you don't stop, we won't go to class and we'll continue to cheer you on." Qin Feng, who was completely exhausted by now, was shocked by the voices. He looked over and found that at some point, the sports field had turned into a sea of people. These people's eyes had completely lit up as they looked at him, with more excitement than himself. The treatment he was receiving was like he was an Olympic runner. He deeply breathed in and started to laugh, as his eyes became focused again and his pace increased. "Holy fudge! Look, young Master Qin's speeding up. Wow, young Master Qin's too cool. It'd be awesome if he could fancy me." He really did get faster. Young Master Qin's been continuously speeding up. Qin Feng could feel his body gradually recovering its strength, and the corners of his lips lifted upwards. He opened the Hedonist Sovereign System and saw that the remaining half of the Rank 2 Strength Potion was slowly being absorbed by his body. He felt as if he had been reborn, and a sense of ecstasy washed over him that he had never experienced before. He was incredibly excited. His chance to break through had come so quickly. The Acropolis University's third round of classes for the day had already concluded, and all of the teachers and lecturers were incredibly confused. Practically no one had come to their classes, and it seemed like these students had all agreed to skip class together. The massive campus was much quieter than usual, while on the sports field, emotions burned bright. It was completely packed, and those who found out late could only press against the rails outside, looking at the scene from afar. Everyone was holding their phones high in the air, taking photos and videos. Some students who had no idea what was going on thought that some superstar had come to the Acropolis University for a concert. 21 laps, 22 laps, 23 laps. Every time Qin Feng ran a lap, the students would count for him. The entire morning, through his sheer willpower, he had run 23 laps with 15 kilograms of sandbags tied to his legs. "Qin Feng, do you want to take a break and have some water?" Seeing the fire burning in Qin Feng's eyes, Lin Bei felt as if this loose and hedonistic young master had become a completely different person. It was as if his whole body was shining, and it had a strange attractiveness to it. Sure, thanks little sister Lin. Qin Feng stopped beside Lin Bei and took the bottle of water from her as he patted her dark and glossy hair. This loving scene made all of the male students' faces darken, and they all sighed as they felt incredibly downhearted. Even the untouchable, pure goddess Lin Bei was going to be seduced by him. At this moment, a beautiful and eye-kind woman who had seen this became so angry that she began to gnash her teeth. She was angry to the point that flames seemed to shoot from her beautiful eyes. She was holding a sports drink in her hands, hesitating as to whether she should give it to Qin Feng. However, it seemed that this was no longer necessary. Stinking loose man, bastard. People like you should just thirst to death. This woman was the #1 beauty of the arts department, Zhao Lingxian. She threw the sports drink on the ground as she silently cursed him and left in a huff. Chapter 27. Chapter 27. Acropolis University's 4 Young Masters. Qin Feng had run for an entire morning and was incredibly thirsty. He guzzled down the mineral spring water quickly and wiped the sweat on his forehead as he smiled at Lin Bei. After his training, he had absorbed half of the remaining rank 2 strength potion. However, when he reached the end, his body stopped absorbing the potion. He felt that if he wanted to break through and reach new heights, he couldn't simply get there by only running. At this moment, a person walked out from the crowd and smiled as he said, "Yo, I was wondering who could have caused such a large ruckus." It turns out that it was our Acropolis University's seducer sage, young Master Qin. Everyone could tell there was a hint of mockery in his tone. They looked over and saw a tall and handsome young man elegantly walking over. How he carried himself was not ordinary, and he had an imposing appearance. He was wearing a white tang suit and held a wooden folding fan in his hands, which he casually fanned himself with. Behind him were 2 lackeys, who glared at Qin Feng menacingly. This person held the same position as Qin Feng, as one of the Acropolis University's 4 young masters, Yuanxiang. However, the Acropolis University's 4 young masters and the Acropolis City's 4 princes were not to be confused with each other. The Acropolis City's 4 princes represented the 4 biggest powers in the Acropolis City, while the Acropolis University's 4 young masters came from different places. Apart from Qin Feng, who was a local, the other 3 were all young masters of prominent families from important cities in the southeast. The powers they represented were not to be looked down upon either. Young Master Yu. Seeing Yuanxiang walk over, Lin Bei courteously nodded and greeted him. "Haha, Miss Lin doesn't need to be so polite. That would make our relationship feel so much more distant. Wouldn't you say that this is fate, to be able to meet Miss Lin here by chance?" Yuanxiang looked at Lin Bei's face with a passionate gaze and gave a gentlemanly smile. Compared to Qin Feng, who seduced women confidently and directly, he was much more crafty and devious. Lin Bei didn't have a very good impression of Yuanxiang. Before, he had publicly announced that he was going to chase after her. However, compared to Qin Feng, he seemed like a complete stranger, which made her feel like she didn't want to get close to him. She instinctively retreated to Qin Feng's side and looked at him, afraid and as if she was hoping that he would save her. Seeing this, Yuanxiang's eyes flashed with a hint of iciness, and he smiled at Qin Feng as he said, "Young Master Qin, you're using such trashy methods to make girls fall for you early in the morning. You've really opened this young master's eyes." From Yuanxiang's perspective, Qin Feng wasn't here to exercise, but had changed his tactics to seduce women. He didn't hide the contempt he showed for Qin Feng, and everything that he did was quite provocative. There are no such things as trashy or clever methods, only effective and ineffective ones. Against Yuanxiang's forceful attitude, Qin Feng's expression didn't change. His arm naturally fell on Lin Bei's shoulder as he tiredly leaned his body against her back and laughed, saying, "What do you think, young Master Yu?" "Humph, Qin Feng, this is a university, so you'd best pay attention to your image. Even if you're shameless, do you think Miss Lin is as shameless as you?" Don't bring your shameless, low acts into here. Yuan Xiang was furious to the point of exploding, and his eyes flashed with ruthlessness. He gnashed his teeth as he stared down Qin Feng. Qin Feng. Lin Bei Bei could feel the tension in the atmosphere, and she sweetly looked at Qin Feng as she gently pushed him aside. When Qin Feng leaned against her back, she didn't feel disgusted, but just a bit shocked. However, Lin Bei Bei, who had a weak and gentle personality, was simply too embarrassed to do such things in front of so many of her peers. Qin Feng understood Lin Bei Bei's personality, and he squeezed her cheek. He laughed as he said to Yuan Xiang, "Oh well, tonight, I'll find a place where there's no one around. There, little sister Lin, and I can be intimate all we want. What do you say, little sister Lin?" When Qin Feng said this, he purposefully spoke loudly so that almost everyone at the sports field could hear. He wanted everyone in the Acropolis University to know that Lin Bei Bei was already his, destroying any intentions towards her. After finding out about her background, he knew how difficult her life was and didn't want her to be hurt anymore. The sports field was instantly filled with whispering, as everyone looked at Qin Feng and Lin Bei Bei in surprise. None of them would have thought that their development would have progressed so quickly. Lin Bei Bei was now nervous to the point of death. Her once white face was so red that it seemed as if steam would be let out. Her long eyelashes rapidly blinked, not knowing what to do. However, when she thought about Qin Feng helping her out all of those times, Lin Bei Bei simply couldn't cause him to lose face in front of everyone. After hesitating for a moment, she nervously raised her head and looked at Qin Feng before weakly nodding and gently replying with "I am." This sound was as quiet as a mosquito and was almost inaudible. However, Yuan Xiang, who was standing extremely close, could hear it clearly. Looking at how embarrassed Lin Bei Bei was, he felt a sudden urge to leap on her there and then. Lin Bei Bei had displayed that embarrassed manner for Qin Feng. "Qin Feng, if you're a man, do you dare to fight with this young master? Whoever can make the other person kneel on the ground and beg for mercy will be the winner. Whoever loses will piss off whenever they see Lin Bei Bei in future." A layer of frost seemed to appear on Yuan Xiang's face, and he even felt like murdering Qin Feng. He simply couldn't accept losing to a hedonistic young master like Qin Feng, and wanted to his fists to display his power and win Lin Bei Bei's heart. Things were progressing this quickly? This was too exciting. Everyone in the crowd gripped their fists with so much excitement that they almost began to jump up and down. Who didn't know of Yuan Xiang? He was the best fighter out of the Acropolis City's 4 young masters, and was the captain of the university's Taekwondo club. His family members in the Jincheng City were quite mysterious and were said to be the overlords of Jincheng City's underworld. Who knew if this was true or not? Yuan Xiang had now uttered such savage words in public and wanted to fight Qin Feng one-on-one. Everyone worriedly looked at Qin Feng. They knew that a hedonistic young master like Qin Feng, who didn't even have the strength to truss up a chicken, would suffer a crushing defeat. He might not even have the guts to accept. "Sure, you want to fight this young master one-on-one?" A calm voice suddenly sounded out, cutting off everyone's discussions. When Qin Feng serenely replied, the entire sports field fell silent. Jaws fell to the ground like rain. Yuan Xiang never thought that Qin Feng would have agreed so readily. He had been thinking of how to bait Qin Feng into fighting him, or how to make him angry enough to agree. He stared in shock for a few moments before laughing loudly. "Haha, that's right. I heard that young Master Qin's skills in seducing women are first-rate. I wonder how your fighting skills are. I've been wanting to fight you for a long time." Was it even possible that Yuan Xiang didn't know Qin Feng's strength? Everyone present clearly knew that Qin Feng was a hedonistic young master who didn't even have the strength to truss up a chicken. Even a strong woman could probably beat him with a single hand. "All right, since you want to fight me so much, then beg. If I'm happy with your begging, I'll fight you." Of course, Qin Feng wasn't stupid. Seeing that he needed an opportunity to break through, he agreed to the battle. However, before fighting, he had to ridicule Yuan Xiang first. Do you dare to fight or not?" Yuan Xiang was incredibly angry. How was it possible that he could beg Qin Feng in front of this crowd? "It must be that you're afraid of this master, and want to find an excuse to run away. Qin Feng smiled as he looked at Yuan Xiang. You want to use these methods to make me fight? You're too naive. Qin Feng took Lin Beibei's hand and turned as he said, since you don't want to fight me, then this young master will take little sister Lin to a remote place to get intimate. I'm very busy. Everyone was dumbfounded as they saw Qin Feng and Lin Beibei getting further and further away. No one thought the conclusion would turn out like this. Yuan Xiang was so angry that he turned green. He looked at the two of them who were about to exit the sports field and gripped his fists as he angrily roared, Qin Feng, please fight with me to see who's stronger. What did you say? I couldn't hear you. Everyone frowned, and Yuan Xiang's face darkened. His fists made cracking sounds, and after falling silent for a moment, he yelled, Qin Feng, I beg you, fight with me. TSK. They were both part of Acropolis University's 4 young masters, but there was such a big difference between them. Oh, you want to fight me? Why didn't you say so earlier? And why'd you have to shout so loudly? It's not like I'm deaf, Qin Feng said as he looked at Yuan Xiang unhappily. Since you're so sincere about wanting to fight me, I'll make an exception and go for a round with you. Qin Feng stood straight with his hands behind his back, looking like an unfathomable expert. Everyone's mouth tweaked. This was a fight, not a competition to see who could seduce a woman. Where had this confidence come from? Yuan Xiang suppressed the flames in his stomach. At this moment, he could feel his heart burning in anger. Seeing that Qin Feng had finally agreed to fight, he didn't waste any words as he leapt towards him. Right now, all he wanted to do was savagely beat up Qin Feng and teach him a bloody lesson. Yuan Xiang was incredibly fast and arrived in front Qin Feng in just a few breaths of time. Taekwondo primarily focused on using one's legs and feet, with the hands in more of a supporting role. Yuan Xiang gave a furious shout as he executed a side kick with good form. It was vigorous and fast. Indeed, he was quite skilled. As he kicked, a cold smile appeared on his face. He could already imagine how pitiful Qin Feng would look after being hit and not being able to get up. However, Yuan Xiang was shocked to see that not only had Qin Feng easily dodged his kick, he had ruthlessly punched towards his head. Everyone cried out in shock. Evidently, they were all surprised at Qin Feng's power. Chapter 28. Chapter 28, Battle of Life and Death. Yuan Xiang's expression changed. He hurriedly withdrew his right foot as he also punched out towards Qin Feng and roared, Humph! Your elder's going to break your arm with this punch. The two fists collided, resulting in an intense sound. Qin Feng maintained his punching pose, while Yuan Xiang stumbled back a few steps. His arm felt numb, and his face was covered with shock. This scene caused the sports field to erupt into noise. Contrary to all expectations, Qin Feng had actually come out on top in an exchange of fists between himself and the Taekwondo club's captain. Not too far away, on a viewing platform, 2 elegantly dressed young men sat at a large, round table under an umbrella. They drank cold, freshly squeezed juice as they casually weighed the fight. These 2 people were the other 2 young masters of Acropolis University's 4 young masters, Li Xiaojie and Huaming. Big brotherly, that kid Qin Feng was pretty good at pretending. He actually knew how to fight. Evidently, Huaming was also completely dumbfounded to see that Qin Feng could fight. Li Xiaojie ignored Huaming. When he saw Qin Feng's vigorous and mighty punch, his eyes flashed as he smiled. Interesting. Feeling the looks of derision from all around him, Yuan Xiang almost became insane with anger, his face turning cold and savage. He never would have thought that Qin Feng would have also learned an external fighting technique. However, that was all there was to him. He had simply underestimated his opponent, which had allowed Qin Feng to gain the upper hand in that bout. With his strength as a Stage 3 expert, he could release 4 times a normal person's strength. From the exchange just then, he concluded that Qin Feng was at most at Stage 2, which was nothing to him. Yuan Xiang suddenly roared and charged at Qin Feng. The cold aura he emitted caused many students to take a few steps backwards. It was obvious that this time, he was fully serious. Qin Feng narrowed his eyes as he saw Yuan Xiang charging towards him like an enraged beast. He felt a sense of danger and didn't dare to be negligent, putting all of his strength into his punch as he struck out. This time, the sound from the collision was much louder and scared many people. Qin Feng felt a wave of energy blast through his entire arm, which then spread through his whole body as he was sent flying. As soon as he hit the ground, Qin Feng spat out a mouthful of blood. Everyone around exclaimed in shock, and many of the timid females covered their eyes, not daring to look at the bloody scene. This battle had turned out to be exciting. Like the battles between experts from wuxia novels, Lin Bei was so scared that she turned white as a sheet. She hurriedly ran over to Qin Feng and frowned as she asked, "Qin Feng, are you all right? Don't keep fighting. I'll take you to the hospital." Qin Feng waved his hand and sat up, indicating to Lin Bei that he was fine. That punch had been too powerful, and although Qin Feng had used the Thunder Tiger Fists which unleashed 3 times a normal person's strength, he still felt as though his internal organs had all been shifted. However, inwardly, he still felt incredibly excited. This was because his body had completely absorbed the rank 2 strength potion and was now filled with power. He felt like he was going to explode. Unknowingly, Qin Feng had broken through the limit. He had truly stepped into the realm of the Stage 1 experts and had officially stepped onto the path of martial cultivation. Having completely absorbed the rank 2 strength potion, Qin Feng's strength, combined with the Thunder Tiger Fists, could unleash 4 times a normal person's strength. Qin Feng was completely confident in facing Yuan Xiang in such a condition. Ding! Congratulations to host Qin Feng for breaking through the first layer of your body's limit. You have received the reward of 200 Hedonist points. Ding! The Hedonist Sovereign System has issued a quest. Break through the second layer of your body's limit. Quest time limit, 1 month. Successfully completing the quest will result in you receiving 500 Hedonist points. Failing will result in the host's body staying in Stage 1 for 1 year. As he saw the 300 Hedonist points he had in the system, Qin Feng's lips slightly curved upwards. He would be able to exchange them for more goodies. Qin Feng, it's not too late to apologize and beg for mercy. Yuan Xiang's furious expression finally lightened up with satisfaction as he smiled. After all, I'm sure you're used to being loose and sensualistic, only playing with women but not emotions. You're definitely chasing after Miss Lin for her body. Yuan Xiang looked towards Lin Bei. He wanted to expose his motives and make her see his true nature so that she would stay away from him. However, all he could see was disgust in her eyes. How could she not be disgusted by him? He had hit Qin Feng until he had spat out blood. This was simply contemptible. As for saying that Qin Feng was only after her body, that was impossible. He had many opportunities to take her body, but he had done nothing. Even last night, Lin Bei had gone to room 888 at the Royal Clubhouse using the room card he had given her. She had waited for him for an entire night, but he hadn't come. Young Master Yu, we're all fellow students here. I think you hitting him to this state is enough. Lin Bei stood in front of Qin Feng and mustered her courage as she spoke out. Qin Feng, you're a man, right? Why are you hiding behind a woman? Seeing that Lin Bei was determined to stand by Qin Feng, Yuan Xiang was so infuriated that he felt like he was also going to spit out blood. Yuan Xiang didn't waste any words. He went around Lin Bei and quickly stepped in front of Qin Feng, wanting to hit him while he was down. It seemed that Yuan Xiang wasn't going to stop if he didn't turn Qin Feng into a cripple. Haha, I'm going to have to disappoint you. This time, this young master has really gotten involved with emotions. When Yuan Xiang's fist came close, Qin Feng coldly laughed and suddenly jumped up. He was almost twice as fast after breaking through the limit, and as he nimbly avoided Yuan Xiang's attack, he counterattacked with his own punch. This punch hit Yuan Xiang in the waist. With 4 times a normal person's strength, 200 kilograms of force struck Yuan Xiang's body, causing him to fly like a broken kite. Yuan Xiang landed heavily on the ground as blood burst out from his mouth. His 2 lackeys hurriedly propped him up as they hatefully glared at Qin Feng. Well, it's your turn to beg for mercy. Qin Feng patted the dust off himself as he calmly looked at Yuan Xiang. Yuan Xiang's tang suit was now covered with dirt, and he looked like a sorry figure. His eyes flashed with amazement. He was completely shocked by Qin Feng's sudden explosion in strength. This guy had evidently just stepped into Stage 2, and yet was able to release the power of a Stage 3 expert, making it impossible for him to completely defend. Of course, if he knew that Qin Feng was only at Stage 1, it would be impossible to imagine what his reaction would be like. Yuan Xiang looked as if he had just eaten a fly. After remaining silent for a while, he gritted his teeth and said, "Qin Feng, this fight was a draw. I want to have a battle of life and death with you in 1 month at the Taekwondo Dojang." After saying this, Yuan Xiang angrily left. Chapter 29. Chapter 29. Incredible Boasting. Yuan Xiang had not said those words out of blind anger. He had put in much hard work to reach Stage 3 in external techniques and could break through at any time. It was likely that with his family's support, he would be able to break through to Stage 4 in external techniques within a month. When that time came, he would be able to unleash 5 times a normal person's strength. That would be the date of Qin Feng's death. Although Yuan Xiang had already exited the sports field, the words he left were like a thunderstorm that sent everyone into a frenzy. A battle of life and death meant that both sides signed a waiver agreeing that if one party killed the other, they would not take any responsibility. Only bloody vengeances would instigate such battles. Goddamn, a battle of life and death. Big brotherly, Yuan Xiang's gone crazy. Even on the viewing platform, Hua Ming, who had seemed like he was on a holiday, couldn't stay calm. However, this Qin Feng guy is becoming more and more interesting. Big brotherly, should we go play with him? Li Xiaojie's unfathomable eyes looked at Qin Feng from afar for a while, and he suddenly said, "If you want to play, go play. I'm not interested." The fight had concluded and Qin Feng had broken through his limit. He didn't need to continue to run around the sports field. So the spectating students all dispersed and it became empty again. "Young Master Qin, are you really all right?" When most of the people had left, Lin Bei mustered enough courage to run over to Qin Feng and ask while holding his arm. Standing so close together, Qin Feng could smell Lin Bei's fragrance and he smiled, saying, "Don't call me Young Master Qin. Call me Qin Feng, like just then. Did you sleep well at the Royal Clubhouse last night?" After finding out that Lin Bei didn't have anywhere to stay, Qin Feng had given her the room card to room 888 at the Royal Clubhouse. As such, he had no further intentions in asking this, but Lin Bei's face suddenly became red, confused as to why Qin Feng had inquired. However, she shyly nodded her head and answered, "The environment there's really nice and it's very quiet, so I slept quite well." "Qin Feng, you last night, why didn't you come to sleep?" In the end, Lin Bei had summoned all of her courage to ask that question. As soon as the words left her mouth, her cheeks became as red as an apple and she felt like diving into a crack in the ground. Qin Feng was a bit surprised by this question, but quickly realized what she meant. Lin Bei must have misunderstood him. She probably thought that he had given her the room card because he wanted her body. He felt slightly bitter, wondering why he had recently been misunderstood by so many beauties. First, it was the beautiful teacher Yun Xiao, and now even Lin Bei thought this way as well. Qin Feng could only accept this, however, as he thought to his loose and sensualistic nature. "Bei, you can have that room to yourself. When I've sorted out your compensation, you can move back," Qin Feng said while bitterly smiling. Lin Bei looked at him in shock as a complicated look arose within her eyes. She couldn't help but stare at Qin Feng dumbly. It turned out, he didn't do this because he wanted her body, but had simply wanted to help her. Suddenly, a strange feeling grew within Lin Bei's heart that she was unable to control. It was so faint that even she didn't notice it. "Thank you, Qin Feng," Lin Bei said in a small voice. No need to thank me. After all, we're desk mates, right? I've taken advantage of you many times in the past, so this is something I should be doing. All right, come have lunch with me." When Qin Feng mentioned taking advantage of her, she thought back to how many times he had touched her legs and cheeks, and her cheeks burned hot again. As the two of them walked through the Acropolis University's campus, Countless students looked at them strangely and discussed among themselves in soft voices. Qin Feng had long since become accustomed to being the center of attention, and his expression didn't change in the slightest. On the other hand, Lin Bei walked with her head lowered the entire time, and her fists were gripped so tightly that there was no strength in them. "Beauty Lin, you've finally come out. We've waited so long for you. Are you free for lunch? Big Brother will take you to have a big feast." Just as the two of them walked out of the campus, a bald-headed man wearing sunglasses walked over. When his gaze fell on Lin Bei's body, his eyes almost became green. The man was in his early 40s and was quite muscular. He was wearing a singlet with beach shorts and thongs on his feet. A wild wolf was tattooed onto his thick arm, and there were 4 people standing behind him. They were dressed fairly similarly and looked like young hooligans. "Do you know him?" Qin Feng slightly frowned and looked at Lin Bei. The instant Lin Bei saw the bald-headed man, she became nervous. Her small hands tightly gripped the corners of her clothes as she inched closer to Qin Feng, gritting her teeth and shaking her head. "Then let's go." Since Lin Bei didn't know these people, Qin Feng didn't bother with them. He held Lin Bei's hand as he walked towards the parking lot. "Goddamn, you little brat. Our big brother Ming's talking to the little beauty. Who the hell are you? If you don't want to die, piss the hell off." The lackeys behind the bald-headed man were enraged and surrounded Qin Feng, looking like they wanted to fight. Qin Feng calmly smiled. He had seen much in his life, and these little hooligans didn't scare him in the slightest. Just as he was going to teach them a lesson they would remember, he felt Lin Bei's small hand that was covered in sweat suddenly pull him. Upon seeing Lin Bei's anxious expression, Qin Feng deduced that she did indeed know these people. She had probably been bothered by these hooligans in the past. Thinking to the other 2 quests related to Lin Bei, solving the issue about the compensation for the demolition of her home and making her his girlfriend, Qin Feng calmed down. He could feel that Lin Bei wasn't as resistant to him as before, and if he put in some effort, she would definitely be his. "Lunch? All right, count me in as well." Qin Feng smiled, looking expectantly towards the bald-headed man. Inwardly, he laughed. "If you want to treat this young master to lunch, you'd best prepare a few cards." The bald-headed man glared at Qin Feng but didn't say anything. Just as his lackeys were about to push Qin Feng away, he nimbly avoided them, causing the afro-headed one to curse loudly. "Fudge, you dare to dodge your elder? And who the hell are you? Big Brother Ming's inviting this beauty for lunch. Why are you still here?" "Abao, shut up." Just as the afro-head called Abao was about to attack, the bald-headed man yelled out and stopped him. Noticing the frightened expression on Lin Bei's face, the hostility on the bald-headed man's face quickly disappeared. A wide smile leapt across his face as he said, "This is the entrance of our Acropolis city's best university, and yet the first you do is curse and swear. What has your big brother told you? Read books in your free time and culture yourselves. What have you all been doing all day? All of you piss off. Your elder gets annoyed just from looking at you." The lackeys looked at the bald-headed man in surprise, wondering why he had suddenly become a different person who valued education so much. Normally, he was the complete opposite. He'd screw his feet and curse with swear words. This was the image that the lackeys had of him in their hearts. However, since their big brother had said this, they didn't dare to disobey and quickly left. After they left, Tai Ming's expression changed as he gave Lin Bei a gentlemanly smile and said, "If you please, Beauty Lin. My car's this way." Qin Feng almost threw up at the sight of a bald-headed, tattooed man whose body was covered with muscles giving such a smile. He said to Lin Bei, "Let's go. Since there's someone paying, why not?" Seeing that Qin Feng was shamelessly determined to come, a hostile look flashed in Tai Ming's eyes and he coldly smiled. Since this brat wanted to die, he would use him as a stepping stone for his boasting. He'd use this brat to show Lin Bei his status and wealth, snaying her over in an instant. As for that brat, he would find a few brothers to give him a vicious beating after the meal. How much you eat will determine how much your elder will beat out of you. At this point, Tai Ming was in awe of his own intelligence and wisdom, and he began to show off. The trio happened to be passing by an incredibly cool-looking Lamborghini Batmobile. Timing suddenly stopped and patted his chest, proudly saying, "Beauty Lin, look at this. Big Brother bought this Lamborghini Batmobile just this year. It wasn't that expensive either. Someone I knew gave me a discount of over $6 million. We'll pick a night for Big Brother to take you out for a ride." Timing didn't even bat an eyelash when he boasted. He had thought that Lin Bei's eyes would shine with a golden light, and that she would run over to hug his arm and cutely flirt. However, all he could see was her desperately suppressing her laughter. How could Lin Bei not want to laugh? Although she didn't know much about cars, she still recognized this unique and cool-looking Lamborghini Batmobile because it belonged to Qin Feng. The first time he had driven it to the university, it had caused a massive ruckus, and Lin Bei still remembered it. "Haha, who would have thought that you're quite rich? You know what, why wait? How about you take Beauty Lin for a ride right now?" Qin Feng suggested and laughed. Tai Ming's face darkened. He awkwardly coughed a few times and said contemptuously, "Brat, you don't understand anything. This sort of luxury car is best driven at night. Why would you want to ride around it during the day? Plus, the keys were carried off by my subordinates, so we can only wait until another day. All right, let's get in my other car. I'm already hungry, so let's go and eat now." In order to prevent further questioning from Qin Feng, Tai Ming hurriedly brought the two of them over to his car, which was a second-hand Buick. Tai Ming drove as Qin Feng and Lin Bei sat together in the back. During the trip, Tai Ming continuously tried to chat with her, but was ignored by her every time. However, Qin Feng was able to make her laugh repeatedly. During the drive, Qin Feng was able to find out the relationship between the bald-headed man and Lin Bei. It turned out that Tai Ming was a big-time gangster who was part of the #1 gang in the northwest of Acropolis City's underworld, the Wild Wolf Gang. Recently, the Wild Wolf Gang had been involved with a development project. They were responsible for helping Eternal Abundance Real Estate forcibly demolish homes and relocate the residents of the place Lin Bei was living at. The first time Tai Ming had seen Lin Bei, he had vowed to make this beautiful girl his. Lin Bei had not been fazed by his earlier tricks, so he decided to use more forceful tactics. Lin Bei happened to be staying at the Royal Clubhouse for the past few days, so he hadn't been able to see her. As such, he had specially come to the Acropolis University's entrance to wait for her. After understanding what was going on, the corners of Qin Feng's mouth tilted upwards. He had been planning to spend some time to take care of the compensation for the demolition of Lin Bei's home, but who would have thought that the opportunity would have presented itself to him? Chapter 30. Chapter 30. Order more if it's not enough. The Buick stopped outside the Royal Hotel. Qin Feng fought the urge to laugh as he looked at the massive hotel that seemed to extend up to the clouds. The Royal Hotel is the Acropolis City's best 5-star hotel. "Beauty Lin, is this good enough?" As soon as they got out of the car, Tai Ming looked at Qin Feng as he tilted his head back and spoke proudly. Even Qin Feng inwardly shook his head seeing Tai Ming act so pretentiously. The black-haired, long-legged, beautiful attendant gave a sweet smile as she greeted the three of them. "Welcome to the Royal Hotel. Please come in, she said, but stopped halfway through her sentence. She immediately adopted an extremely respectful tone when she saw Qin Feng. She started another sentence and said, "Young Mas but was once again cut off by Qin Feng. He still wanted to watch Tai Ming show off as he found it quite amusing, so he suddenly yelled out, "Wow, no less than expected from a 5-star hotel. Look at these decorations. It looks like a palace. I'm sure it's expensive to eat here, right? Baldy, you're quite right." Baldy? Tai Ming's mouth chewed and his face almost turned green after hearing the name Qin Feng called him. However, seeing the look of wonder and awe on his face, he suppressed the anger and said, "Che, how expensive can a meal be? Seeing that you're Beauty Lin's classmate, you can order what you want. Your elder will show you what the upper-class lifestyle is like." Seeing Tai Ming's insufferably arrogant manner, the beautiful attendant wondered if she hadn't completely woken up. She hurriedly rubbed her eyes and looked at Qin Feng carefully. However, she was certain that this was the Royal Hotel's director's son, Qin Feng, young Master Qin. This was the first time the beautiful attendant had heard someone speak of the upper-class lifestyle to Qin Feng. "This way, please." The beautiful attendant noticed the look Qin Feng was giving her. It seemed that he didn't want to reveal his identity, so she didn't say anything else and guided the three of them to a private room. The whole way, many of the workers bowed to Qin Feng. Tai Ming was walking at the front, so he thought that these people were showing him respect. He marched on with a straight back, feeling as if he was flying. Haha, see, this is what the service in five-star hotels is like. It's worth it to spend some extra money. Following the beautiful attendant, the three of them came to a luxurious private room on the third floor. "Sir, what would you like to eat?" The beautiful attendant thought the host was probably the Baldy after her observations, so she presented the iPad to him. "Beauty Lin, you can order. Don't look at the prices, just order what you want. The thing Big Brother here lacks the least is money, AI, and future. If you become Big Brother's girlfriend, you'll be able to live in bliss." Tai Ming pushed the iPad over to Lin Bei Bei. He tried to bait her in, but found that she did not look at the iPad as she pushed it over to Qin Feng, shyly saying, "You order. I'm not good with these things." Qin Feng smiled and pushed the iPad to the side as he looked towards Tai Ming, saying, "Baldy, I'll order for us then. This is the first time I've eaten in such a high-class restaurant before. Surely you won't mind if I order a lot, right?" "That's right. Order as much as you want. Your elders got plenty of money." Tai Ming rolled his eyes. He would allow this brat to have some fun for now. Tai Ming resolved not only to beat him up until he vomited because he dared call him Baldy, but also to get people to shave him bald as well for running off his mouth. "I'll go ahead then." Qin Feng gave an evil smile and leaned back on the sofa chair, casually saying, "We'll have one of each of the most expensive dishes, as well as the special dishes, recommended dishes, seafood dishes, dessert dishes, but no soup." "Oh, and a 1982 Lafite, please." "All right, that's enough. We'll order more if it's not enough." After Qin Feng finished ordering in a confident and an easygoing manner, Tai Ming looked as if he had become petrified. He inwardly howled. "What the hell have you ordered? How can 3 people eat so much? You ordered enough for goddamn 30 people, and yet you'll order more if it's not enough? Your elder will send you to the Western Paradise in just a bit." Tai Ming's breathing became much heavier. They had come to the Royal Hotel last year to celebrate the Wild Wolf Gang's leader's birthday, and it had been incredibly expensive. After that, he hadn't dared to come here. Today, if he wasn't acting so big in order to trick Lin Bei Bei into sleeping with him, Tai Ming wouldn't have paid such a bloody price. However, since he had put on such an act, he couldn't give up halfway. As such, he could only grit his teeth and hang on. "Sir, is that all right?" Since it was Tai Ming paying, the beautiful attendant still needed his consent. Tai Ming's face darkened as he nodded his head. When the attendant left the room, Tai Ming's heart was still bleeding. He silently calculated how much all of this would cost, and found that according to his rough estimates, it would be over $100,000. He was so angry that he almost flipped the table and walked out. After spending so much money, if Lin Bei Bei wasn't obedient at night, he would just have to take her by force. This was what Tai Ming silently decided as he gnashed his teeth. "Baldy, why's there a tattoo of a dog on your arm?" Seeing that Tai Ming had fallen silent, Qin Feng took the initiative to tease him. "Fudge! Look goddamn carefully, it's a wolf." Tai Ming was already furious, and the flames in his heart were fanned even greater by Qin Feng. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He savagely glared at Qin Feng, saying, "Don't think that you can run your mouth off just because you're Beauty Lin's classmate. Brat, I'll have you know that your elders in the underworld. Have you heard of the Northwest's Wild Wolf Gang? The leader, Wang Chong, is my brother. I'll have you know that your elder has killed people before, so show some respect." The Acropolis City's underworld was split into 2, Wild Wolf Gang in the northwest and Flying Dragon Gang in the southeast. However, these things were nothing in Qin Feng's eyes. "You've killed people before?" "No way," Qin Feng said in mock horror. Seeing Qin Feng's scared expression, Tai Ming felt quite pleased. He continued to boast, saying, "In the underworld, killing people is as normal as eating. You should know Qin Feng, right?" He's that good-for-nothing son of the royal group's president, Qin Huang. Even a hedonistic young master like him with such a background is being hunted for all over the city with a bounty of $200,000 on his head. Qin Feng spat out the tea in his mouth onto Tai Ming's face. This news had come too suddenly, and even Qin Feng didn't know about it. Before the Baldy could become angry, Qin Feng asked, "Baldy, you can't say such things so casually. Surely the Flying Dragon Gang wouldn't dare to kill Qin Feng." Brat, you haven't even grown out all of your hair. What do you know? Qin Feng killed Ma Hu. So do you think his dad wouldn't dare to kill Qin Feng? Tai Ming resisted the urge to kick Qin Feng as he wiped his face with a serviette. Qin Feng knew that the leader of the Flying Dragon Gang was Ma Long. However, saying that he killed Ma Hu was rubbish. He had been killed by that masked person. Chapter 31. Chapter 31. Actually, I have the heart of a Buddha. Lin Bei now felt nervous to death. There were people hunting down Qin Feng, and they seemed to be powerful bad guys as well. Her delicate hands grabbed onto Qin Feng's arm. Feeling the cold sweat on Lin Bei's hands, Qin Feng smiled and patted her head, indicating for her to relax. He then looked back to Tai Ming and tried to get more information out of him. "Baldy, I can't believe such a thing. I'm sure you people in the underworld are just boasting to seem scary." Tai Ming was quite pleased with his boasting. These university girls all liked violent and manly boyfriends, and yet Qin Feng had spat water on him and doubted him repeatedly. He was now eyeing to kill Qin Feng. He unhappily replied, "You think I'm boasting? I might as well tell you. We have a high-ranking member of the Flying Dragon Gang as our spy who gave us this information. If this information is false, your elder will behead himself." Tai Ming seemed adamant that he wasn't lying, and it seemed that he was telling the truth. Qin Feng realized that it was possible that after the masked person had killed Ma Hu, the blame had been put on him. This act of getting someone else to do one's dirty work seemed to be quite effective. If Qin Feng hadn't met this idiot, Tai Ming, and didn't find out that he was being hunted down by the Flying Dragon Gang, it could have been quite dangerous. Although the Flying Dragon Gang was nothing to him, a sudden ambush could cost him his life. Because the young Master Qin was present, after chatting for a short while, the dishes Qin Feng had ordered were quickly brought up. The attendant had especially told the chefs to prepare his meal first. The large table was quickly filled with many delicious dishes, and there were still many dishes that couldn't fit. They were all put on a separate table. Looking at the dazzling array of food, Tai Ming didn't have any appetite. Instead, he felt so angry he felt like exploding. All of this had been bought with his money. "Open that bottle of red wine." Qin Feng waved his hand, signaling the attendant to open the 82 Lafite. While Tai Ming was in no mood for food, Qin Feng was in a fabulous mood. Wait, seeing that the attendant was about to open the 82 Lafite, Tai Ming was so scared that he almost fell off his chair. He had never tasted this wine before, but he knew that a single bottle costed more than $50,000. Adding on all this food, this meal would definitely cost more than $100,000. Tai Ming's intestines were green with regret. He shouldn't have brought this idiotic boy along with them. "Don't open this bottle of red wine. Your elder's already sick of it. It tastes the same as red wine you can buy for tens of dollars. Plus, it's not strong enough. Go and bring a bottle of white wine. White wine tastes way better." Since they had come and spent so much money, Tai Ming was determined to make his plan succeed. He was planning to use a bottle of white wine to make Qin Feng and Lin Bei completely drunk. The one who should be beaten up would be beaten up, and the one who should be screwed would be screwed. Tong. Just as Tai Ming spoke, Qin Feng had already opened the red wine with practiced ease. He poured a glass for Lin Bei and himself. He had already started treating Tai Ming as heir. "Bei, have a taste. This wine is $50,000 per bottle, so a single mouthful is thousands of dollars." Qin Feng said as he smiled at Tai Ming. Lin Bei was frightened. She knew that the Royal Hotel was extremely expensive, but she never expected a bottle of red wine would cost $50,000. Her hands trembled as she held the wine glass, looking at the bright wine, but she didn't dare to drink it. Her mother's operation had costed $100,000, and this bottle of wine was worth half of that. Lin Bei simply couldn't understand the upper-class lifestyle. Baldy, since you said you're already sick of this wine, I won't pour any for you. Bei, cheers. Since the wine had already been opened, Tai Ming had nothing to say. He had never tried this sort of wine before, and he was hoping to have a good taste this time. However, Qin Feng's words almost made him furious to the point of passing out. Qin Feng smiled as he looked at Tai Ming, then touched his glass with Lin Bei's. He knew Lin Bei was reluctant to drink such an expensive wine, so he took the lead. Seeing Qin Feng drink the wine, Lin Bei stopped hesitating. She was quite curious as to how such an expensive wine tasted, and she also took a small sip. Just as the wine entered his mouth, Qin Feng frowned and spat out the red wine. He used his hand to wipe his mouth and threw away the 82 Lafite, cursing, "Fudge. It tastes disgusting. It must be fake." Lin Bei also frowned. This was the first time she had drank wine before, and she couldn't appreciate this rich wine. She felt it was acerbic and sour, and didn't taste as good as a $3 soft drink. "I think so too. It doesn't taste very nice," Lin Bei mumbled. She was surprised such a bad-tasting wine would be sold for so much. Lin Bei simply couldn't understand what those rich people were thinking. Tai Ming was completely dumbfounded. Looking at the 82 Lafite that had spilled all over the ground, he felt as if it was his blood that had been spilled on the ground. He had never had the chance to drink such expensive wine before, and now he had been tricked into buying one then weighing it go to waste. He simply couldn't hold back his anger anymore, and his face completely twisted. He pointed at Qin Feng as he roared, "Fake wine? You're a goddamn country bumpkin. This is the Acropolis City's best 5-star hotel, and all of its patrons are extremely rich and powerful. You think the boss here would be stupid enough to sell fake wine? You're goddamn dead." Tai Ming pulled out his phone, seeming like he was going to call people over to fight. The beautiful attendant saw all of this and maintained a calm expression as she reminded, "Sir, this is the Royal Hotel. Please dine in a civilized manner. Otherwise, I'll have to call the security." Normally, it didn't matter how much of a ruckus the guests made in the private rooms. However, the young Master Qin was here, so she couldn't allow this person to behave too atrociously. "You?" Tai Ming savagely glared at the attendant, but couldn't say anything. The Royal Hotel was simply too powerful, and wasn't an entity that a little thug like Tai Ming could take on. He furiously sat down and secretly started to send a text to order people to come over. Since he couldn't make a ruckus in the Royal Hotel, he would arrange for people to wait outside. He didn't believe that this brat could hide in here forever. "That's right, Baldy. What are you getting so angry about? It's just a bottle of wine, right? If I had the opportunity to treat Bei to a meal, I wouldn't mind how much money I spend," Qin Feng said without changing his expression. Tai Ming was so angry that he gnashed his teeth. "It's not like we're spending your money. Of course it doesn't hurt for you." However, since they had already come so far, he still needed to maintain his act. He withdrew the hostility he was emitting as he smiled, saying, "It's just a bit of money. What is there to be angry about? I'm just angry that you, brat, are so unknowledgeable and spouted such nonsense. Could it be that you're saying I'd treat Beauty Lin to fake wine?" Qin Feng laughed, but didn't say anything. Naturally, he had been acting as well. He had begun tasting wine since he was 6, and had tried nearly all of the best wines under the heavens. This was a Lafite that the Royal Hotel had imported from a French vineyard, and he had personally identified it, so he was sure it was real. "Baldy, this is the first time I've met such a generous person before. In that case, I won't hold back anymore." Qin Feng smiled as he made a loud click with his fingers, and the beautiful attendant quickly came to his side. "I heard that the Royal Hotel invited the Caesar Band from France. Call them over to play something for us. Just eating isn't very fun, so we should find something interesting while we dine. Baldy, I'm sure you wouldn't mind spending a bit more money, right?" Qin Feng said as he smiled at Tai Ming. When Tai Ming had organized the leader's birthday dinner, they had eaten here, so he knew just how expensive the band was. A single piece required thousands of dollars as a tip. Just as he was about to refuse, Qin Feng looked towards Lin Bei and said, Bei, you must also like the romantic atmosphere of eating while listening to live music, right? Lin Bei was a smart girl and could easily tell that Qin Feng was trying to defraud Tai Ming. As such, she cooperated with Qin Feng and nodded, shyly saying, of course, having a band play is good. However, since it's someone else paying, I don't want to force it on them. This was the only thing Lin Bei had asked for this entire meal, so Tai Ming wiped the cold sweat on his head, gritting his teeth as he said, go and bring the cheater band to play something for us. It's the Caesar band. The beautiful attendant rolled her eyes at Tai Ming as she left to invite them over. Not long after, the band came over. They were a row of blue-eyed, big-breasted, foreign beauties. The gentle and moving melody filled the room. Caught in the atmosphere, Qin Feng began to gently sing in French. The melody was beautiful, and Qin Feng's voice was magnetic and irresistible. Very soon, Lin Bei became enchanted by the music. She gently looked at Qin Feng. Not only his appearance, but his background and personality were all so charming. With such a flawless exterior, no wonder he was so loose and hedonistic and called the seducer sage. Even the pure Lin Bei wanted to throw herself into Qin Feng's embrace and follow him for the rest of her life. The song ended, and even the beautiful band members couldn't help but clap for Qin Feng. Even some of the French beauties began to look at him flirtatiously. Tai Ming felt like vomiting blood. He was spending money while Qin Feng was flirting with women and stealing hearts. Did he think Tai Ming had more money than sense? If they weren't in the Royal Hotel, Tai Ming felt like jumping up and killing Qin Feng in that instant. The band continued to perform, but Tai Ming didn't have any appetite at all. Conversely, he felt quite uncomfortable. After Qin Feng had sung, Lin Bei's heart had been melted and became much more active. She laughed as she ate with him and would sometimes make some romantic gestures. Tai Ming had become a complete third wheel. After their 2-hour meal, Lin Bei's entire person had been melted by Qin Feng. This was the most romantic and luxurious meal she had ever had, and her impression towards Qin Feng greatly improved. Haha, I think we've eaten enough. We should go now. Tai Ming was desperate to leave. He stood up, looking like he was immediately going to go. When they left the Royal Hotel, he would break Qin Feng's legs. Baldy, are you really going to go? Qin Feng was also full, and slowly stood up as he clapped his hands together. Suddenly, a group of men in security uniforms rushed into the VIP room. As soon as they entered, they surrounded Tai Ming and pressed him to the ground. Before Tai Ming could even react, the security officer who took the lead came before Qin Feng and respectfully spoke. Young Master Qin, the offender has been subdued. Very good. This person forcefully demolished homes and had ill intentions towards my friend. He caused a ruckus in the Royal Hotel and personally admitted to committing murder. Take him to the police office and have them deal with him. Holy fudge. Tai Ming was shocked stiff. Young Master Qin? This guy was indeed acting in a commanding manner. After a long time, he finally realized what was happening. His eyes shone and a terrified expression appeared on his face as he stared dumbly at Qin Feng, saying, Why, you're Qin Feng, Qin Huang's son. I didn't kill anyone. I was just joking around with you. Please don't take it seriously. Actually, I have the heart of a Buddha. I've never even killed an ant before. Chapter 32. Chapter 32. The difference between free-to-play players and pay-to-win players. After being taken down by the security officers, Tai Ming was escorted out of the private room. Before he left, Qin Feng made him pay for the bill. After all, this was his dad's property, and he couldn't allow it to make a loss. As for the delicious dishes that hadn't been touched, Qin Feng gave them to the beautiful attendant to share it with other attendants for lunch. Only now did Lin Bei find out that the Acropolis City's most luxurious hotel, the Royal Hotel, belonged to Qin Feng's family. Lin Bei couldn't help but want to laugh after thinking about all the boasting Tai Ming had done. After eating their fill, Qin Feng arranged for someone to drive Lin Bei back to the university. He returned to room 665, and soon, Zhang Biao hurried over. During the course of this lunch, Qin Feng had obtained an important piece of information. Ma Long had mobilized the entire Flying Dragon gang to hunt him down, so he naturally had to retaliate. "Young Master Qin, what orders do you have?" Zhang Biao respectfully asked. Qin Feng pointed at the sofa opposite him, indicating for Zhang Biao to sit down. A look of delight flashed in Zhang Biao's eyes, and he carefully sat down opposite Qin Feng. "Ah Biao, I feel that Acropolis City's underground is full of fish and dragons mixed together. Do you think we should unite them?" Qin Feng casually said as he played with an ancient jade in his hand. After hearing from Tai Ming that Ma Long was trying to hunt him down all over the entire city, he realized how powerful the mastermind was. He didn't mind killing Ma who in order to frame Qin Feng. Qin Feng had been passive this whole time, being attacked by others. This feeling was quite uncomfortable, so he decided to take the initiative and shake the city up. Zhang Biao sat up straight and was so excited that he almost jumped up. He fully understood Qin Feng's meaning. He wanted to conquer the Acropolis City's underground powers and had called him over to put him in charge of this. Thinking to the possibility that he could one day be the biggest gang leader in the Acropolis City and unify the Acropolis City's underworld, Zhang Biao was incredibly excited. Zhang Biao immediately voiced his assent. "Young Master Qin, if there's anything Zhang Biao can do, I'm willing to walk up mountains of knives and go down into pans of oil for you." "Very good. I hope you won't disappoint me. This time, I don't want to directly clash with them. Let's win by using our heads." Qin Feng then told Zhang Biao about how the Flying Dragon Gang was hunting for him all over the Acropolis City, causing Zhang Biao to become incredibly furious. He demanded to immediately take people to take down Ma Long. Qin Feng stopped Zhang Biao, and after waiting for him to settle down, he continued to speak. "We need to use our brains and can't be rash. In 2 days, I'll get people to spread information that I've been scared by Ma Long. When that time comes, I want you to contact the Wild Wolf Gang's leader, Wang Chong, and tell him that I want to help him get rid of the Flying Dragon Gang and help him become the Acropolis City's biggest gang leader. When both sides have suffered heavy losses, you bring your people and unify the underworld." Any questions? Zhang Biao's eyes lit up, and he felt respect for Qin Feng from the bottom of his heart. This plan of preying on the predator was simply flawless. Who said he was a hedonistic young master who only knew how to seduce women? Zhang Biao would execute all of them. Excellent. What an excellent plan. If I can't conquer the Acropolis City's underworld, I'll piss off out of the Acropolis City. Zhang Biao stood up and gripped his fists as he made this promise. After finalizing the plan and working out the details, Zhang Biao left to make preparations. Qin Feng comfortably reclined against the large sofa and opened the Hedonist sovereign system. He now had 300 Hedonist points and wanted to see if there was anything worth buying. After having a look, Qin Feng's emotions plummeted. The things he was interested in costed thousands, if not tens of thousands, of Hedonist points and were simply too expensive for him. On the other hand, the things that he could buy were all completely useless. Suddenly, the little pig's waxy voice sounded out, giving him suggestions. "Master, according to this little pig's analysis, there are 2 courses of action you can take. Firstly, you can save up the Hedonist points you have now and do your best to do quests. When you have 1,000 Hedonist points, you can buy elementary sword skills. Combined with the True Steel Sword, Master's strength will be able to greatly increase. Alternatively, Master can spend 300 Hedonist points to buy a rank 1 speed potion and a rank 2 speed potion, increasing your speed." Elementary sword skills? It sounds quite ordinary. Why is it so expensive? Qin Feng complained as he made a wry face. "You think it's ordinary? The elementary sword skills includes all basics to mastering the sword. Similar to the Thunder Tiger Fists, once you learn it, you will have learned the sword arts that normal people would take 10 years of hard training to learn. Gathering chi and refining chi are all included. Do you understand?" The little pig ferociously glared at Qin Feng, looking at him impatiently. Qin Feng frowned. Indeed, he was too unknowledgeable. This sort of sword skill was indeed powerful. It even related to gathering chi and refining chi. Could this be the inner chi of the legends? However, looking at the number of Hedonist points he had, Then looking at the hedonist points required to buy the elementary sword skills, Qin Feng deeply sighed. Thinking to the masked person in the abandoned factory, Qin Feng felt quite scared. That person was simply too fast, and if they wanted to kill him, it would be incredibly easy. He had to quickly raise his strength. Otherwise, it was likely that he would die before he could even save up 1,000 hedonist points. Forget it. I'll buy the speed potions first. Before making his decision, he looked to the little pig as he asked, "Why can't I spend 300 hedonist points to buy a rank 3 strength potion?" According to the determinations by Earth's ancient external experts, there are 9 stages in total. After breaking through the first layer of one's body's limit, they will have stepped into stage 1. After breaking through the second layer of their body's limit, they will have stepped into stage 2, and so on. A stage 1 expert has 2 times a normal person's strength. A stage 2 expert has 3 times a normal person's strength. A stage 3 expert has 4 times a normal person's strength. So if Master continues to break through his limit, you will naturally become stronger. The reason I suggested for Master to buy the strength potions before was because you were still far away from breaking through the first layer of your body's limit and couldn't fully release the power of the Thunder Tiger Fists. As such, we used the strength potions to raise your strength in advance. So it's like that. Qin Feng seemed to understand, but didn't fully understand what the little pig was saying. He continued to ask, "In that case, wouldn't my speed increase as I break through?" Qin Feng was wondering that if his speed also increased, wouldn't it be unnecessary to buy the speed potions? It will, but it's not like the increase in strength. For speed, you can increase it without any limits. For example, right now, you're at stage 1, so your body can only withstand 3 times a normal person's strength. If you try to accumulate even more, your body will explode. However, speed is different. There's almost no limit for it. After the little pig's patient explanation, Qin Feng realized that most martial artists could only increase their speed and strength by breaking through their limits. However, he could drink speed potions and could increase his speed without being limited. Similarly, with the Thunder Tiger Fists, he could release even more strength than a person at the same stage. This was the difference between free-to-play players and pay-to-win players. This was the first time Qin Feng had felt that the hedonist sovereign system was quite humanistic. Chapter 33. Chapter 33, Coincidentally Meeting an Acquaintance. Qin Feng spent 300 hedonist points and bought a rank 1 speed potion and rank 2 speed potion. After drinking down the 2 potions, they were quickly absorbed by his body. He then opened his stats page. Host Qin Feng. External Technique Stage. Stage 1. HP, 1. 1 times a normal person's lifespan. Stage 1 is equal to 1. 1 times. Stage 2 is equal to 1. 2 times. Strength. 3 times a normal person's strength. Combined with Thunder Tiger Fists, can release 4 times a normal person's strength. Speed, 1. 3 times a normal person's speed. Stage 1 is equal to 1. 1 times. Stage 2 is equal to 1. 2 times. Agility, 1. 1 times a normal person's reaction speed. Inner Technique Stage, none. Chi Refining Stage, none. Qin Feng felt very pleased as he looked through his stats. After obtaining this system for half a month, he had turned from a hedonistic young master who didn't even have the strength to truss up a chicken into an expert whose stats surpassed a normal human's greatly. He believed that this was only the beginning. "Master, you've spent a total of 700 hedonist points now. If you spend another 300 points, you can level up into a rank 4 hedonist mortal and will receive another 3 lottery chances. Master, work hard and earn more hedonist points." Hearing that he could soon obtain more lottery chances, Qin Feng felt quite excited. He had previously drawn the Thunder Tiger Fists and True Steel Sword. Maybe this time he would be able to obtain something even more heaven-defying. Not too long after he finished absorbing the 2 speed potions, Uncle Fu walked over and handed some freshly printed documents to Qin Feng, saying, "Young master, this is all of the information on the Eternal Abundance Real Estate's general manager, Chao Yang. It's enough for him to eat prison food for the rest of his life." Qin Feng had arranged for Uncle Fu to take care of the demolishing compensation long ago. Not only did it concern a quest, but also holes in the management of the royal group, so Qin Feng wouldn't let it go easily. After casually looking through the documents, he inwardly rejoiced. Completing this quest would bring him yet another 100 hedonist points. He desperately craved for the elementary sword skills, as well as the 300 hedonist points to spend to become a rank 4 hedonist mortal. That way, he would have another 3 lottery chances. As such, he had to think of how to do as many quests as possible. Qin Feng asked Uncle Fu to send those documents to the police station, then came to the main hall of the royal hotel. Since he was free, he decided to find Bai Qing to talk and see if he could gain any information. In the empty hall, Bai Qing was wearing a professional-looking skirt with black stockings. Although only a small portion of her legs were revealed, she still looked quite alluring. She was 25 years old this year and was 175 centimeters tall. When she stood with the other beautiful attendants, she still looked like a crane among chicken. On her round, white face were a pair of pleasant-looking, long eyebrows. There was a hint of iciness in her beautiful eyes, and her body was quite curvy. Her entire body emanated an air of pride. Her eyes were staring into the distance, seeming to space out. What a cold and arrogant-looking older sister type. Qin Feng couldn't help but marvel inwardly. If she wasn't secretly working against the Qin family, he would have taken her to bed long ago. Manager Bai, what are you doing spacing out here? Qin Feng came over to Bai Qing and gave a handsome smile. Welcome, young Master Qin. As soon as the row of beautiful attendants saw Qin Feng, they all hurriedly bowed and greeted him. Bai Qing also quickly returned to her senses. When she saw Qin Feng, a look of disdain flashed in her eyes before she gave a beautiful smile, softly hitting Qin Feng's chest as she coyly said, I was thinking of young Master Qin and spaced out. Young Master Qin, you need to take responsibility. Her cold and imposing aura was completely gone. If he didn't know about Bai Qing, he wouldn't have thought anything. However, with this knowledge, seeing her flirt with him, he couldn't help but feel amazed. She was even better at acting than him. Of course, I'll take responsibility. This young master will naturally take responsibility for a peerless beauty like Miss Bai. Qin Feng didn't show any weakness and acted like his hedonistic self as he smiled lewdly while looking at her. Twin Peaks. Bai Qing covered her mouth as she laughed, and a cold look flashed in her eyes for a brief moment. How is young Master Qin going to take responsibility? Hee, let's go. This young master is going to take you shopping, and we'll have a candlelit dinner at night. Finally, we'll go to the royal clubhouse and hire a room, and, you know. Qin Feng gave an evil smile as he lifted up her chin with his index finger. Bai Qing hurriedly swatted Qin Feng's hand away, and she laughed while she scolded, Io, there are too many people here. Young Master Qin, let's talk outside. Under the admiring and envious gazes of the other beautiful attendants, the two of them left the royal hotel. They all wished that they were the one Qin Feng took a fancy to. If that happened, they would be able to rise up like a phoenix. The royal clubhouse, royal hotel, and royal jewelers were the royal group's 3 main assets. Currently, Qin Feng was taking Bai Qing to the royal jewelers' main store. He believed that just as women were irresistible to men, jewelry was irresistible to women. In this room filled with gold, silver, and other treasures, he didn't believe Bai Qing could keep her rationality and not make any mistakes. Young Master Qin, you finally have time to come over. As soon as Qin Feng entered, the beautiful manageress Rao Xueqing smiled as she hurried over. Haha, I'm here to pick out some jewelry for this beauty. Qin Feng laughed as he put his hedonistic side on show. Manager Rao, pick out some of the best upper-market jewelry for us to have a look. Rao Xueqing furtively stole a few glances at Bai Qing. Women were by nature jealous creatures. It could be said that it was a great fortune for many women to be fancied by Qin Feng, and they would obtain immeasurable glory and wealth. Who wouldn't want such a life? However, after comparing herself to Bai Qing, Rao Xueqing could only pout and inwardly complain as she went to pick out some jewelry. Qin Feng and Bai Qing found a place to sit. At this moment, a young, devilish woman wearing heavy makeup and revealing clothes walked in on the arm of a young man in a Western suit. Darling, you promised that you would buy me a big, sparkling, beautiful diamond necklace today. You won't break your promise, right? The woman spoke in a sickly sweet voice, causing many people to look over. Qin Feng's body trembled and almost felt like vomiting. Darling, this royal jeweler is the biggest jewelry store in the Acropolis city. They have a good reputation and have promised that they will never sell fakes. I heard that they just received some diamond necklaces from the French designer, Victoire de Castellane. I really, really want one. Okay? As she spoke, the woman pouted and twisted her hips, trying to act cute. Qin Feng screwed his tortured ears. He was just about to stand up and kick this woman out when, unexpectedly, the woman suddenly stopped acting cute and looked in his direction in shock. Bai Qing. Seeing Bai Qing, the woman's face was filled with surprise. Bai Qing looked at the other person for a while before hesitantly and curiously replying, Zhu Dinyo? Hearing this name, Qin Feng's mouth violently tweed. Chapter 34. Chapter 34. A woman who deserved a spanking. The woman who had been acting cute skipped over to Bai Qing and said in surprise, Bai Qing, it really is you. Aya, I've already changed my name to Angel, as in the beautiful winged beings in heaven. Don't you think it really suits my personality? After confirming that the other person was Zhu Dinyo, Bai Qing also revealed a surprise smile. This was her old classmate from year 12, and they hadn't met in over 4 years. To suddenly see an old classmate from high school within a sea of unfamiliar faces, they were naturally happy to see each other. Bai Qing, are you shopping while taking a break from your job? After exchanging a few greetings, Zhu Dinyo looked up and down Bai Qing. Seeing her uniform and the name badge on her chest, she didn't try to conceal the scorn in her tone. She covered her mouth as she lightly laughed. Haha, I should tell you that this jeweler is very expensive. Even if you like anything here, you won't be able to afford it. As she spoke, she turned around and waved to the man in the suit, sweetly saying, Darling, come over. I'll introduce you to my classmate from high school. Of course, she wasn't introducing Bai Qing, but blatantly showing off in front of her. The man in the suit smiled as he walked over. When he was close enough to see Bai Qing's beautiful appearance, his body slightly trembled and a look of lust flashed in his eyes. However, he was able to calm his expression almost immediately. He stretched out his hand, smiling as he introduced himself. Hello, I'm Chao Yang, the general manager of Eternal Abundance Real Estate. Chao Yang was quite eager to be able to hold Bai Qing's white and delicate hand. I already said she's my old classmate. You don't need to be so formal. Before Bai Qing could shake his hand, Zhu Dinyo stepped in between them. She condescendingly looked at Bai Qing as she said, Darling, my pretty classmate was the dux of our Acropolis City's graduation exam. Back then, she was extremely popular at school. However, as the saying goes, it's better for a woman to marry well than to score well, right, darling? It's better for a woman to marry well than to score well. This phrase stabbed into Bai Qing's heart like a poisonous thorn. Her face darkened and her eyes dimmed, as painful memories came flooding back. In high school, Bai Qing's results were all excellent, and it seemed as if going to the best university, finding a good job, and marrying a good man were all guaranteed. However, the night she received her results for her graduation exams, something had happened which completely changed the course of her life. Because of that, she had given up on going to university and started out as an attendant at the hotel. She had climbed up step by step until she had become a manager at the Royal Hotel. However, this was just the beginning of her revenge. Miss Zhu Dinyo, Mr. Chowing, hello? I'm Bai Qing's friend, Ah Feng. Qin Feng had been weighing from the side and saw that Zhu Dinyo had come over to show off and belittle Bai Qing. However, Qin Feng couldn't help but smile upon hearing Zhu Dinyo's boyfriend introduce himself. Who is this? So annoying. I already said my name is Angel. It means princess. Don't call me other names, all right? Zhu Dinyo hatefully glared at Qin Feng, then arrogantly said, You're Bai Qing's boyfriend? You look pretty ordinary and don't seem very rich. You must be a playboy leeching off Bai Qing, right? Who would have thought, Bai Qing, you're actually a cougar? Zhu Denyo's looks were all right, and she seemed like the petite type. However, she was loud-mouthed and showed no restraint when talking, which gave off an aura of arrogance. She had lived in the same dormitory as Bai Qing for her 3 years in high school. Her grades weren't as good as Bai Qing's, and she didn't look as good as her either. The bit of light she had was completely dwarfed by Bai Qing's, and she resented her from the bottom of her heart. Now, seeing the difference between them, she felt incredibly pleased and wanted to savagely show off. Miss Bai Qing, if you're not happy with your company, we would welcome you at the Eternal Abundance Real Estate anytime. With a single word from me, I can guarantee you'll make twice as much as you are making now. Chao Yang acted as if he didn't even see Qin Feng and completely ignored his self-introduction. His gaze lingered on Bai Qing's body and didn't shift at all. He even began to subtly seduce her. These sorts of exquisite beauties were rare, even in the Acropolis city. Chao Yang had almost had his soul stolen. Zhu Denyo's face darkened in anger when she saw the light in her boyfriend's eyes, which were fixed on Bai Qing. Io, how could an arrogant person like Bai Qing accept a handout from someone else? Darling, don't make a fuss. Otherwise, we might be misunderstood to be looking down on her like giving out handouts to a beggar. Bai Qing's face slightly paled. Before, she had been quite happy to see an old classmate, but she had not expected her to become such an unpleasant person. She was about to ask Qin Feng if they could leave, but saw that he was walking towards Chao Yang with a look of shock on his face. Oh, isn't this the Eternal Abundance Real Estate's general manager? I heard that the Eternal Abundance Real Estate belongs to the Royal Group. So incredible. Qin Feng's flattery caused Bai Qing to deeply frown. Not many people knew about the Eternal Abundance Real Estate, but there was no one who didn't know the Royal Group. After all, its director was Qin Huang, the richest man in the Acropolis city, and now, his only son, Qin Feng, was standing right next to her. Bai Qing couldn't help but smile at the irony. Zhu Denyo felt quite pleased when she saw Qin Feng's shock and was so proud that she almost started flying. She looked at Qin Feng disdainfully and said, "Humph, it's not that I'm boasting, but my darling is quite important in the Eternal Abundance Real Estate. There are nearly 1,000 employees managed by him, and their employment is governed by him. AI, for a lower-class person like you, I'm sure you wouldn't understand. Just forget what I was saying." Ahem. Qin Feng coldly smiled and replied, "He's just the Eternal Abundance Real Estate's general manager, but has so much authority? You've got to be boasting, right?" Boasting? Fudge. Do you think I goddamn boaster? Zhu Denyo became enraged. The petite woman suddenly became like a ferocious tiger. It seemed that her cute and adorable personality was just for show. Even Qin Feng felt tired by imagining all of the pretending she did. Even if I tell you, you wouldn't believe it. Lower-class people like you are destined to be poor forever and will never rise up from the bottom of society. Darling, let's go and pick some jewelry. Let's not waste time on these people. Lower-class people? This was the first time that Bai Qing had heard someone call Qin Feng a lower-class person. She suddenly felt that this situation was becoming more and more interesting. What Angel said is true, but being at the top of the company is just a very slight effort. Chao Yang didn't react as extremely as Zhu Denyo. He handed Bai Qing a card as he smiled and said, "This is my business card. If Miss Bai Qing needs anything, just let me know. I'll be free anytime." The two of them then turned and walked towards the counter. Before they could walk too far, Rao Xueqing came back with a fancy-looking box and a big smile, trying to curry favor. "Young Master Qin, sorry for the wait. This is the newest necklace that has just come in yesterday. Please have a look if it's good enough for your tastes," she offered. Before Qin Feng had even spoken, Zhu Denyo, who hadn't walked too far away, cried out as she covered her mouth and ran over. Her eyes were fixed upon the sparkling necklace in the box, and she looked uncontainably excited. "Darling, look, this is the one I was telling you about. It's the newest 5-carat diamond necklace designed by Victor de Castellane. It's made so delicately and looks so beautiful. You said you would buy me one, so you have to buy it for me." Rao Xueqing looked at Zhu Denyo in condescension, wondering where this weirdo, who seemed to have never seen jewelry before, had come from. She was screaming like she had orgasmed. But since Qin Feng hadn't said anything, Rao Xueqing didn't say anything either. Chao Yang elegantly walked over. When he saw the price tag on the box, his heart thumped. This diamond necklace costed $890,000. He looked at the light shone in by Qing's eyes and made a decision. It seemed that this woman was the same and could be won over by money. Spending a few $100,000 to get a woman like this in bed would be worth it. This necklace is quite good, and if darling wants it, I'll buy it for you. I never look at the price when buying things for my woman. Chao Yang looked at Bai Qing when he said this. He was sure that Bai Qing would be able to understand the hidden meaning in his words. Qin Feng ignored Chao Yang's words, and his gaze fell on Bai Qing's jade-white neck. If she wore this necklace, it would be incredibly compatible. Qing, do you like it? If you like it, I'll buy it for you, Qin Feng softly said. Bai Qing felt quite surprised, but quickly calmed herself down. She looked at Qin Feng with a complicated expression before finally shaking her head, saying, I'm a bit tired. Let's go back. If you don't have money, don't pretend to be a rich young master. Leaving? You're just finding excuses. Zhu Dinyo was certain that Qin Feng couldn't afford such an expensive necklace, and her tone became incredibly mocking. Miss, reserve this necklace for me. And also, you shouldn't allow anyone to just waltz into this store. If an expensive piece of jewelry goes missing, your salaries won't be enough to cover it. When she saw Zhu Dinyo's incredibly arrogant manner, Rao Xueqing felt like whipping her. She glared at Zhu Dinyo as she replied, I'm sorry, miss, but we won't sell this necklace to you. I'm planning on gifting it to this miss over here, because it would look 10 times better on her than on you. What did you say? Zhu Dinyo was completely dumbfounded. She thought that there was something wrong with her ears, and she stared at Rao Xueqing with wide eyes full of shock. After a few moments, she started to shrilly yell, Fudge. What did you say? You loose woman? I'm a goddamn VIP here, and I want you to kneel and apologize right now. Otherwise, I'll call your general manager and have you pay the price for your actions. Zhu Dinyo seemed like a fishwife cursing in the streets, and soon, she attracted every customer's attention. Chapter 35. Chapter 35. Mysterious Hatred. Rao Xueqing was furious. She coldly laughed as she stretched out her hand and slapped Zhu Dinyo's face, thinking to herself, ring them if you want. Your granny here won't be afraid even if you report me to the royal group's director. I'll have you know your granny follows young Master Qin. A crisp sound rang out and Zhu Dinyo stood frozen, with a look of disbelief on her face. You dare to hit me? As she came back to her senses a while later, she dove into Chao Yang's embrace and wailed, Darling, that stinking woman dared to hit me. Quickly call some of your brothers to violate this slut. When she heard this, Rao Xueqing felt like spitting out blood and slapping this woman a few more times. However, she was stopped by Qin Feng. He walked over to Chao Yang, revealing a faint smile as he said, General Manager Chao Yang, I'll apologize for this lady if that's all right. Chao Yang had felt annoyed by Qin Feng's presence for a while now. Bai Qing being with him was like a flower being stuck in a pile of dung. He gave him a contemptuous sideways glance as he replied, Humph. If you want to apologize, you have to do as my darling said, by kneeling on the grue dash. Before he could finish his sentence, a slap made his face bloom like a flower. The strength that the slap contained directly sent him flying. This is this young master's apology. Is it to your pleasing? Jake, just you wait. Chao Yang was dazed by Qin Feng's slap and was now completely furious. He quickly took out his phone, preparing to call his lackeys to make Qin Feng a cripple. At this moment, a group of uniformed security officers ran over to Qin Feng, respectfully asking, Young Master Qin, would you like us to throw out these pair of dogs? Young Master Qin? The hand that Chao Yang was using to dial a number froze. Just then, he had been so furious that he had not been thinking clearly. Now that he had calmed down, looked at Qin Feng closely and searched through his memories, his entire body became petrified and his jaw almost fell to the ground. The royal jeweler's security officers treated him so respectfully, and the female manager had wanted to gift him a necklace worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Young Master Qin, apart from Qin Huang's son, Qin Feng, who else could it be? Why, you're Qin Feng? Young Master Qin? Qin Feng's name was like a thunderclap. Although Chao Yang had never met him in person, he quickly ran in front of him. You know me? Ah, to be recognized by the general manager of the Eternal Abundance Real Estate is my honor. Qin Feng sarcastically said as a cold smile flashed on his face. He couldn't help but marvel at his luck. In just a single day, he had met two people who had been acting incredibly cocky. Darling, hurry up and call your people. I want to kill these dogs personally. After being slapped, Zhu Dinyo was mad with fury and didn't notice how the atmosphere had completely changed. She was still pointing at Qin Feng and the others and furiously cursing. However, very soon, she was given a big slap by Chao Yang. Stop goddamn babbling, you slut. Open your dog eyes and look who that is. It's the Acropolis City's biggest young master Qin. Hurry up and apologize. You're just begging to be slapped. After confirming Qin Feng's identity, Chao Yang was so scared that he began to break out in cold sweat. When he thought to how cocky and condescendingly he had been acting, he wanted to run into a wall and die. Chao Yang released all of his unhappiness on Zhu Dinyo, only stopping after giving her multiple slaps. Zhu Dinyo was completely dumbfounded. How could a shallow and pretentious woman like her not have heard of Qin Feng before? Before hooking in Chao Yang, she had investigated Qin Feng, wanting to be his mistress. However, after comparing the women that Qin Feng had been with to herself, she completely gave up on that. And now, Qin Feng was right in front of her. Although she had been slapped quite a few times in front of everyone else, Zhu Dinyo put on a big smile as she bent at her waist and said, Aya, so it's young Master Qin. Looks like the water has rushed into the Dragon King's temple, haha. A great person should show great magnanimity. Please don't hold it against lowly people like us. I deserve death for angering you. I'll slap myself to death. Without Qin Feng needing to do anything, Zhu Dinyo began to continuously slap herself. When she saw her swollen face, a look of worry flashed on by Qing's face. After all, they were high school classmates and she didn't want to see things like this. She grabbed Qin Feng's arm, softly saying, Young Master Qin, please let this go. It's not that big of a deal. Qin Feng was preparing to ignore Zhu Dinyo, but this woman had started slapping herself, so he didn't really care. He waved his hand, saying, All right, that's enough. Both of you piss off, you're an eyesore. Chao Yang was finally able to relieve the large weight in his heart. He bowed to Qin Feng and ran out of the jeweler's as if he was running for his life. He didn't even bother to look at Zhu Dinyo. He decided that from today onwards, he would cut off ties with her. Having a woman like her by his side would only bring him disaster. When the two of them left, the people who had been spectating all gradually walked off as well. Qin Feng didn't take any of this to heart and picked up the necklace worth $890,000. He smiled as he looked at Bai Qing and said, Beauty Bai Qing, let me put this on for you. Bai Qing felt a bit shocked when she saw Qin Feng's handsome smile. Before she could refuse, Qin Feng had already come over and carefully put it on for her. A faint masculine scent wafted into her nose, which made her feel a bit uncomfortable. She suddenly thought of something and her eyes became cold. Even the atmosphere around her cooled down. Ding! The hedonist sovereign system has issued a quest, resolved by Qing's hatred towards the host. Quest time limit, 1 month. Successfully completing the quest will result in you receiving 500 hedonist points. Failing will deduct 1,000 hedonist points from the host. Resolved by Qing's hatred towards him? Qin Feng frowned. There didn't seem to be any conflict between Bai Qing and himself, so why would this woman hate him? Could she be secretly helping someone deal with Qin Feng because she hated him? A wave of questions came flooding into his head, but he simply couldn't understand what was going on. He stabilized his emotions and gave a calm smile as he said to Bai Qing, So pretty. I'm sure that no one else would be able to display the same beauty with this necklace. Haha, young Master Qin. I'm sure you've said this to every girl you've slept with before, right? Bai Qing coldly laughed as she walked out of the jeweler's with a darkened face. Qin Feng felt a bit awkward and chased after her. Bai Qing wasn't in the mood to continue shopping, so Qin Feng drove her back to the hotel. They spent the entire trip in silence. After returning to the royal hotel, Bai Qing didn't see Qin Feng. She returned to her position and took off the necklace. Chapter 36. Chapter 36. Visiting the Zhao family. Qin Feng returned to room 666. After that ordeal, he had still received some clues. He now knew that Bai Qing hated him for some reason. As long as he found that reason, he could resolve her hatred towards him. Perhaps, after he gained her favorability, she would tell him who was behind all of this. At night, and under strict orders from Qin Huang, Qin Feng came with him to the Zhao family's villa to apologize about the matter of rescinding the marriage. Zhao Lingxian's father was called Zhao Dahai and was one of the top businessmen in the Acropolis city. His high medical group almost monopolized the Acropolis city's medical industry. 20 years ago, when Qin Huang had arrived at the Acropolis city, he had become acquainted with Zhao Dahai. He had received much help from Zhao Dahai, and with his own business mind, he walked step by step to where he was today. The two of them were not related by blood, but were closer than brothers. "Brother Huang, Feng, you've come? Hurry and come in." Just as Qin Feng and his father arrived outside the villa, the chubby Zhao Dahai came over. He knew that Qin Huang was coming tonight, so he had been waiting outside for them. "Brother Hai, you actually waited outside for us. Do you want to make your brother Huang feel guilty forever?" Qin Huang felt incredibly guilty about the rescission of the marriage. However, Qin Feng was simply too loose and sensualistic. Perhaps rescinding the marriage was a good thing for Zhao Lingxian. Zhao Dahai had an appearance that seemed to be blessed by the heavens. He smiled like a Buddha as he said, "Brother Huang is older and is my senior, so I should be waiting to welcome you. As for the matter regarding Feng and Lingxian, that's in the past now. Brother Huang, you don't need to feel bad about it. This won't affect our friendship of 20 years in the slightest." "No, of course not." They laughed as they spoke and walked into the main hall. Qin Huang and Zhao Dahai started to talk about business, politics, and the economy, which made Qin Feng want to fall asleep. Qin Feng felt bored, so he took a stroll through the large villa. Thinking to the quest regarding Zhao Lingxian's favorability towards him, he decided to go and talk to her to restore their relationship. Her door wasn't locked, so he gently opened it and walked in. It was as if he had walked into a small palace. The large room was covered with pink wallpaper and had European-style decorations on the ceiling. There was a large, pristine, princess-style bed with white muslin around it and a yellow SpongeBob blanket covering it. The blanket was slightly raised, telling Qin Feng that its owner had just left the bed. There was no one in the room, so Qin Feng sat down at the desk. An open diary greeted his eyes. 6/1 clear. Today was bright and sunny, but my emotions felt like wind and rain. That accursed, loose young master rescinded his marriage with me in front of everyone in the class. I felt like killing him on the spot. Although I didn't really want the marriage and would have been delirious with joy for its cancellation, I was devastated to be thrown away like that. Doesn't that bastard know that a woman's reputation is important to her? Finally, I want to curse Qin Feng to be killed by a car. 100 times. 6/7. Cloudy. Today that idiotic young master went crazy and publicly announced he was going to chase Lin Bei. Who knows what he's thinking? I thought that I would ignore him after the incident about the marriage, but I couldn't help but be affected by that. What's going on with me? Finally, I want to curse Qin Feng to die from choking on water. 100 times. 6/9 clear. Tonight at the cocktail party, Qin Feng tried to be nice to me and played a nice piano piece. Did he forget to take his medicine? What was he doing before? I hate him to death. However, the current Qin Feng seems to be different and has changed a lot. Finally, I want to curse Qin Feng to die by being struck by lightning. 100 times. Qin Feng didn't dare to continue reading. This was Zhao Lingxian's diary, and just by casually reading through a few pages, he had died 300 times already. He hurriedly closed the diary and was about to escape from this room of death when suddenly, the door to the bathroom opened. A beautiful woman with a wonderful body walked out. Her hair was still damp, and there were still a few water droplets on her snow-white skin. The key thing was that she wasn't wearing anything. "Ah, you perverted bastard. How did you get in here? What are you trying to do?" If you dare to continue looking, your granny will gouge out your eyeballs and trample on them." Zhao Lingxian had just taken a shower and was drying her hair with a towel, while waiting for her body to completely dry before putting on her clothes. However, when she was halfway through doing this, she suddenly froze. The man who she cursed to die 100 times every night was now standing right in front of her. His eyes were green as he ogled her body, which made her want to cut him into 1,000 pieces. Qin Feng gulped down his saliva as he hurriedly turned around. However, the image of Zhao Lingxian's curvy body remained in his mind. Her skin was snow-white and held a faint hint of rosiness after the shower, which made it appear sleek and taut. Her long legs didn't have a bit of fat on them and were slim and straight. Her chest was also surprisingly large, and he hadn't actually noticed this before. Suddenly, Qin Feng felt slightly regretful that he had canceled their marriage. This was no less than expected from the Acropolis University's art department's #1 beauty. She completely deserved this title. "What are you still standing there for? Piss off already." Zhao Lingxian hurriedly covered her body with a towel and gnashed her teeth at Qin Feng's back. This was the first time a man had seen her body, and it was Qin Feng, that beast. As she thought about it, her eyes grew misty. After suppressing the fire in his heart, Qin Feng hurriedly ran downstairs. His father and Uncle Zhao were still heartily chatting, unaware of what had happened upstairs. Qin Feng couldn't help but think to himself that even if he violated Zhao Lingxian, they probably wouldn't have realized. After sitting downstairs and feeling bored, he heard footsteps on the stairs. Looking up, he saw that Zhao Lingxian had changed into a white dress and was elegantly walking down. Her calves could be seen, which caused Qin Feng to think of that shocking scene from before. Zhao Lingxian looked at Qin Feng's shining eyes as she gnashed her teeth and glared at him, then sat down next to Zhao Dahai. She angrily asked, "Dad, why did you let Qin Feng come to our house?" If the Acropolis University's males saw Zhao Lingxian acting in such a coquettish way, they would probably screw out their own eyeballs. Was this really that cold, aloof, glacier goddess? Seeing that his daughter had come downstairs, Zhao Dahai lovingly stroked her head before saying seriously, "This girl really doesn't know how to speak. Haven't you seen that your Uncle Huang is here? And you didn't even greet him." Although she was extremely unhappy towards Qin Feng, Uncle Qin Huang had always been very good to her and treated her as if she was his own daughter. She immediately looked over and greeted him. "Uncle Huang, you've come." Qin Huang also patted Zhao Lingxian's head, smiling as he said, "What's wrong, Lingxian? You look so angry. Did Feng'er bully you again? When we go back, I'll give him a good lashing." When Qin Huang said this, Zhao Lingxian pouted again, looking quite unhappy. Zhao Dahai squeezed her nose and said, "All you know how to do is be angry. Just then, I saw Feng'er go up to find you. Are you still putting on the act of a big miss?" It would have been better if Zhao Dahai hadn't mentioned that. Zhao Lingxian once again remembered that Qin Feng had seen her naked body and the anger on her face increased. She suddenly stood up and said, I don't care. I just don't like to see Qin Feng. I welcome Uncle Huang to come to our home, but I won't tolerate Qin Feng at all." After saying this, Zhao Lingxian angrily ran upstairs again. "I've truly spoilt this girl rotten." Qin Huang and Zhao Dahai looked at each other and laughed, both feeling a little awkward. "Feng'er, go and cheer up Lingxian. The two of you grew up together, and even if you're not getting married, you can at least be friends, right? There's no need to act like enemies." Zhao Dahai looked at Qin Feng and smiled. "As a man, you need to be magnanimous and sometimes give in. That child has a kind heart, but has princess syndrome because I've spoilt her too much." Qin Feng nodded and hesitantly walked upstairs. If Uncle Zhao knew that he had just seen Lingxian's naked body, he definitely wouldn't have asked him to go upstairs and cheer her up. This was simply suicide. "Little sister Lingxian, are you wearing clothes? I'm coming in now." This time, Qin Feng didn't dare to just swagger in. "Go and die. Piss off." Zhao Lingxian was lying on her bed and was feeling quite miserable. When Qin Feng came in, a pillow flew over. Luckily, he had stepped into stage 1 and had drank speed potions, which gave him the speed and reaction time to CA the pillow. Oomph. I told you to piss off, are you deaf? Seeing that the pillow hadn't hit Qin Feng, Zhao Lingxian became even angrier. As a hedonistic young master, one of his key strengths was that his face was as thick as a wall. Qin Feng pretended not to hear her and smiled as he sat down next to her on the bed. He needed to obtain her favorability, so if he could reduce her anger towards the rescission of the marriage, his job would be much easier. Little sister Lingxian, don't be angry. I came specifically to apologize about the rescission of the marriage. As soon as he mentioned the rescinded marriage, Zhao Lingxian became even angrier. She coldly replied, "No need, hurry up and leave. If you have all this time and energy, go and be intimate with your little sister Lin. I'm disgusted by this act of yours." Qin Feng felt a little surprised and could almost smell jealousy in the air. Could it be that Zhao Lingxian had fallen for him? After all, he was simply too handsome and savvy. Zhao Lingxian could tell Qin Feng had misunderstood and hurriedly explained, "Don't have any stupid thoughts. Even if I became a monk, I wouldn't like you. I just pity Lin Bei. Why would such a nice girl fall for such a bastard?" "Princess Lingxian, don't say such things. I remember when we were younger, a certain someone would always follow me around," Qin Feng proudly replied. Chapter 37. Chapter 37. Obtaining Zhao Lingxian's favorability. Qin Feng had grown up with Zhao Lingxian, so he was familiar with her family background. When they were little, Zhao Lingxian's mother had stolen much of Zhao Dahai's wealth and fled. Zhao Dahai hurriedly rebuilt his family, but had neglected Zhao Lingxian in the process. This caused Zhao Lingxian's personality to become lonely and aloof, so she virtually had no friends. Because Qin Feng was good with people and could get along with anyone, Zhao Lingxian always played with him. After they grew up, Qin Feng fell into the temptation of beautiful women and they gradually drifted apart. However, they could still be called childhood sweethearts. What? I don't remember. Zhao Lingxian became slightly red, pretending that she had forgotten about that. She hit Qin Feng's head with a pillow, trying to chase him away. "Hurry up and leave. I feel angry whenever I see you. I feel so angry that my stomach's hurting again." As she hit Qin Feng, she suddenly stopped and curled into a ball as she held her stomach. Her stomach really did hurt, but it wasn't because of Qin Feng. When she was young, she had developed a stomach illness because she didn't eat at regular times. Qin Feng knew about Zhao Lingxian's stomach illness. When they played together in their younger days, he would carry her to the doctors when her stomach hurt. When he saw Zhao Lingxian's incredibly pale face and the sweat on her forehead, Qin Feng hurriedly touched her forehead and asked, "Are you all right? Is your stomach acting up again?" "Don't touch me. I don't need you to worry about me. Hurry up and leave. Leave." Zhao Lingxian gritted her teeth and endured the pain, not wanting Qin Feng to see her in this state. She pulled up her blanket and covered herself. "Fine. Since you hate me so much, I'll leave." Qin Feng laughed as he stood up and left the villa. Zhao Lingxian stayed under the blanket for a while, and after confirming that Qin Feng was gone, she uncovered herself. Seeing that the room was empty and that Qin Feng had indeed left, she suddenly felt a bit dispirited. "Oomph. Men are all the same and don't have any patience. If you had tried to cheer me up, maybe I would have let you stay and look after me for a bit." Zhao Lingxian suddenly felt quite complicated. Unknowingly, her attention had been focused on Qin Feng. This feeling was quite strange, and even Zhao Lingxian couldn't understand it. In reality, she had been keeping something bottled up within her. After Qin Feng had rescinded their marriage, the capital's Liang family's third son, Liang Sheng, had come to the Zhao family to ask for her hand in marriage. The Liang family owned one of the biggest medical companies in the entire country. They wanted to use this marriage to ally their families together and expand even further. Although Zhao Dahai didn't immediately agree to the marriage and allowed Zhao Lingxian to make the decision, she could tell from his eyes that he wanted this to go through. The only problem was that Zhao Lingxian didn't feel anything for that Liangsheng. In fact, she would have been more willing to marry Qin Feng than Liangsheng. You beast, you scoundrel, you bastard. If you didn't rescind the marriage, I wouldn't have so many troubles. I curse you to trip over and die 100 times. Zhao Lingxian cursed Qin Feng for a while, which would have made him die a countless number of times. Her stomach began to hurt more and more, to the point where she didn't have the strength to curse Qin Feng anymore. Her beautiful eyes became misty, and she felt incredibly pitiful and wronged. Ever since she was young, she had never been properly looked after by anyone. Every time she had been hurt, she would lick her own wounds in the corner. Stop cursing me. If I really died, who would go out at night to buy medicine for you? The door was suddenly flung open as Qin Feng walked in with a handsome smile on his face. Zhao Lingxian was completely dumbfounded, and she thought that she was dreaming. She never thought that Qin Feng would have come back. He had even bought medicine for her. She suddenly felt a warmth in her heart, as well as an urge to cry. From memory, whenever her stomach hurt, it would always be her father, mother, or Qin Feng who went to buy stomach medicine for her. Even after Qin Feng started chasing beauties, she would still think of a certain someone when her stomach started hurting. Who asked you to come back? Your seducing techniques won't work on me. Hurry up and get out. Although she felt quite moved, Zhao Lingxian wouldn't show it. When she thought to the possibility of being married off to the Liang family, she felt incredibly melancholic. By this time, Qin Feng had already poured some hot water, blew on it, and handed it to Zhao Lingxian. He smiled as he said, curse away, curse away. As long as you're happy cursing at me, then continue. However, cursing takes a lot of strength. Drink your medicine first, and after you've recovered, you can curse at me for the whole night. Curse at him for the whole night? Zhao Lingxian's face went red as inappropriate thoughts ran through her mind. If she stayed with this hedonistic young master Qin Feng for a whole night, who knew what could happen? I'm not drinking it. Who knows if you really bought stomach medicine? I'm sure you put some sort of aphrodisiac in it. I'm definitely not drinking it, Zhao Lingxian said as she angrily pouted. Seeing Zhao Lingxian act in such a stubborn manner, Qin Feng suddenly thought back to when they were younger. Back then, Zhao Lingxian was incredibly cute and would do whatever he said. However, they had gradually drifted apart, and Zhao Lingxian had gradually recovered her cold and arrogant personality. Despite this, Qin Feng knew that deep down, she hadn't changed. She was still a weak girl who didn't have anyone to rely on. Her coldness was just a facade to protect herself. All in all, she was a very difficult girl. Princess Zhao, what nonsensical things are you thinking about? Look here. This bottle is stomach medicine, Qin Feng said as he rolled his eyes at Zhao Lingxian. Zhao Lingxian didn't even look at the bottle. She coldly harumphed and replied, maybe you swapped it out for other medicine? Qin Feng frowned and felt quite speechless. He exasperatedly continued, Big Miss Zhao, this is your own home. What could I do to you? Who knows? This young miss is beautiful and has a sexy body. One always has to be on their guard against a perverted fiend like you. Unknowingly, Zhao Lingxian and Qin Feng had begun to act like a couple having a fight. In fact, Zhao Lingxian secretly enjoyed this feeling. She had no friends at school, and there was usually no one at home. She rarely talked to anyone during her days. She actually felt quite happy to have someone to quibble with. Fine. If you won't eat your medicine, then this young master will have to feed it to you. Qin Feng knew that Zhao Lingxian was venting her anger against him, but she still didn't look quite well. Qin Feng held a capsule in one hand as he put his other hand around her slim waist, trying to force her to take it. Oi, what are you doing? Let go of me. I'll call for help. You beast, don't touch me. I'll kill you. By now, Zhao Lingxian was completely within Qin Feng's embrace. She was only wearing a thin, silk sleeping gown. They were touching so closely, and she became so embarrassed that her face turned completely red. She desperately hit Qin Feng's chest with her small fists and struggled for a while. However, she soon found that it was completely useless and that it allowed Qin Feng to take advantage of her even more. Hurry up and take it. Otherwise, I'm not letting go, Qin Feng ordered as he finally brought the capsule to her mouth. Zhao Lingxian was the proud and aloof type, and she definitely wouldn't give in after being ordered like that. As a result, she desperately resisted. Zhao Lingxian, are you going to take the medicine or not? Qin Feng's expression became serious. I won't. Zhao Lingxian wasn't afraid at all. Although she hated Qin Feng, she knew that he wouldn't really do anything to her. Then this young master will have to use his ultimate skill. Qin Feng evilly smiled, drank a mouthful of water, and lowered his body as he pressed his lips against hers. As a soft, damp feeling met his lips and he breathed in her fragrance, even an experienced man like Qin Feng felt a bit dazed. Zhao Lingxian was even more surprised. She suddenly stopped struggling and stared at Qin Feng with widened, misty eyes. Her buzzing brain was in a complete mess. After a few moments, Zhao Lingxian came back to her senses. She was furious, which caused her chest to heave. Every time she breathed in and out, Qin Feng could feel her soft chest rubbing against his. It was a feeling so wonderful that it made him want to cry out, let go of me. Zhao Lingxian once again began to struggle, but her mouth was blocked by Qin Feng's, which made it difficult for her to speak. Qin Feng could feel that Zhao Lingxian was still trying to spit out the stomach medicine, so he decided to take things a step further. He suddenly opened his mouth and streed his tongue into her mouth. Huff. Zhao Lingxian suddenly breathed in. This time, her brain completely short-circuited and went blank. She even closed her eyes, feeling intoxicated. This was her first kiss, and it was the first time that she had experienced such a wondrous feeling. She couldn't resist and allowed Qin Feng to do as he wished. Originally, Qin Feng had been planning to stop after he had placed the stomach medicine into her mouth. However, after starting, he simply couldn't stop. He slowly began to kiss her more and more passionately. Zhao Lingxian's body slowly relaxed, and she even wrapped her arms around Qin Feng's neck. She spread her legs and sat on his lap, engaging in the kiss of the century. As they kissed, Qin Feng's hands subconsciously found their ways to Zhao Lingxian's chest. They were soft, bouncy, and large. They were simply exquisite. Ah, Qin Feng, what are you doing? Zhao Lingxian suddenly came back to her senses and kicked Qin Feng off the bed in fright. She wanted to step on this beast's head and finish him off there and then. Suddenly, Zhao Lingxian's phone began to ring. Do. Zhao Lingxian looked over in surprise and glared at Qin Feng, then picked up the phone and answered it. Hello? Who is this? She was feeling quite angry and spoke coldly. Lingxian, it's me, Liang Shang. I'm about to arrive at your place. Would you like to have dinner with me? When he heard Zhao Lingxian's bone-chillingly cold voice, Liang Shang couldn't help but shiver. I don't have any time. Zhao Lingxian never liked Liang Shang to begin with, and adding on how angry she was feeling, she directly ended the call. She savagely threw her phone at the bed and glared at Qin Feng as she coldly said, The hell are you looking at? I've taken the medicine, and you've had your kiss. Qin Feng, you're the worst bastard under the heavens. I hate you. Piss off already. As she spoke, her tears shamefully flowed out. She suddenly realized that Qin Feng's reputation as a loose and sensualistic young master was completely deserved. Ding! Congratulations, host Qin Feng, for completing the quest to make Zhao Lingxian have a favorable impression of you. You have received 200 hedonist points. Ding! The hedonist sovereign system has issued a quest. Help Zhao Lingxian extricate herself from Liang Shang's wooing. Quest time limit, 1 month. Successfully completing the quest will result in you receiving 500 hedonist points. Failing will result in the host completely losing Zhao Lingxian. Chapter 38. Chapter 38. Situation becoming interesting. Qin Feng felt a bit dazed. What he thought to be the most difficult quest had actually been easily completed with just a passionate kiss. This quest gave him a reward of 200 hedonist points. If Qin Feng could finish another quest, he should be able to easily rack up 300 hedonist points. After spending them, he would become a rank 4 hedonist mortal and would receive another 3 lottery chances. He felt incredibly excited as his large hands held Zhao Lingxian's shoulders, and he affectionately said, "Lingxian, let's kiss again. This time, it'll just be a pure kiss. I promise I won't touch anywhere else this time." Before he had recovered from that kiss, he had received Zhao Lingxian's favorability. Qin Feng believed that he would definitely succeed if he tried to take her right now. Zhao Lingxian felt a bit surprised and looked at Qin Feng, feeling stunned. She breathed in deeply, doing her best to suppress her rage as she roared, "Qin Feng, do you want to die?" Qin Feng felt a bit scared by the coldness radiating out from Zhao Lingxian's eyes. He hurriedly withdrew his hands as he gave a sheepish smile. "I was just joking, haha, just joking. Am I that sort of person? I only kissed you just then to feed you the medicine. I saw that you weren't wearing much, and was worried that you'd get cold, so I covered your important bits to keep you warm." Qin Feng, hurry up and piss off, otherwise your granny's going to kill you. Zhao Lingxian picked up a lamp next to her, lifting it up as if she was going to throw it. "Lingxian, if there's nothing else, I'll be leaving now." Seeing that the situation had taken a turn for the worse, Qin Feng decided to quickly leave. However, Zhao Lingxian suddenly called out and stopped him, saying, "You want to just leave after taking advance of this big miss? Who do you think I am? Wait for me downstairs. A troublesome fellow's coming to visit me. If you can help me get rid of him, we'll be even. Otherwise, I'll make you take the consequences." Qin Feng's mouth chewed as he felt the chilling intent from Zhao Lingxian's body. He suddenly imagined Zhao Lingxian not sleeping for the entire night, furiously scrawling in her diary, "I cursed Qin Feng to die in various ways, 100 times. Most likely, Zhao Lingxian would only show this childish, overbearing attitude in front of Qin Feng. Even if other people wanted to see it, they weren't qualified." Qin Feng went downstairs first, and soon, Zhao Lingxian walked down in a white shirt and short yellow skirt. She was also wearing colorful stockings that reached up to her knees, which made her look quite youthful. Seeing his daughter come down dressed nicely, Zhao Dahai gave a happy smile. It seemed that the disagreement between the two children had been resolved. Ding dong, ding dong. At this moment, the doorbell sounded. Zhao Lingxian didn't even have to look to know that it was Liang Sheng. She unhappily pouted and looked at Qin Feng. Qin Feng immediately understood her intention and went to open the door. A man with a stylish fringe, a white shirt, and black pants stood outside the door. He had a gentlemanly smile on his face and was evidently a son of a rich family. "You are?" Seeing Qin Feng, Liang Sheng felt a bit surprised and wondered who he was. Zhao Lingxian didn't have any older or younger brothers. "You pressed on my home's doorbell, and yet you ask who I am? What's wrong with you?" Qin Feng more or less understood who Liang Sheng was from what he had heard from Zhao Lingxian. Seeing him dressed so gentlemanly, Qin Feng felt like whipping him. This was despite the fact that Qin Feng also liked to dress like a gentleman to seduce women. "Ahaha, excuse me, I'm here to find Uncle Zhao." A look of hostility flashed in Liang Sheng's eyes before it quickly disappeared as he smiled. Qin Feng looked up and down Liang Sheng, cleaning his ears as he disdainfully said, "You had the gall to visit Uncle Zhao without a gift? You're not coming in." After saying that, Qin Feng closed the door. From the beginning, Liang Sheng didn't even step inside the Zhao family's villa. Although Zhao Lingxian was sitting on the sofa, she continuously glanced over to Qin Feng. She felt much better after seeing Qin Feng walk back by himself with a pleased look on his face. She looked at Qin Feng, then turned and pretended to watch the TV. Zhao Dahai and Qin Huang were engrossed in their discussion and didn't pay attention to what had just happened. "Feng who was it?" Zhao Lingxian casually asked. He had only heard the doorbell ring, but no one had come in. "It was a wild dog. It could jump extremely high. It was pressing the doorbell for fun, but was chased away by me," Qin Feng casually replied as he sat down next to Zhao Lingxian. Zhao Lingxian couldn't help but laugh with a tft. Qin Huang and Zhao Dahai stopped talking and looked at Qin Feng in bewilderment. "A wild dog? Jumping up to press my home's doorbell? No way, what dog can jump that high? Our doorbell is at least 7 meters high on the wall." "Feng are you sure you saw correctly?" Zhao Dahai asked in surprise. Definitely. I looked up and down, but it was definitely a wild dog. Uncle, you can keep chatting with my dad. If there's anything, I'll take care of it. Qin Feng said as he laughed. Ding dong. Just as Qin Feng spoke, the doorbell rang again. This time, all four people got up and walked to the entrance. The two adults wanted to see what dog breed had learned to press doorbells. Uncle Zhao, so you were already entertaining guests. It seems that I came at a bad time. Just as Zhao Dahai opened the door, he saw Liang Shang standing at the entrance and holding 2 bags of wine and cigarettes. Qin Feng and Zhao Lingxian were secretly filled with devilish glee. Those who knew Zhao Dahai well knew that he hated other people giving him presents. As expected, when he saw the 2 bags of presents, Zhao Dahai's face darkened. He said neither warmly nor coldly, so this time it wasn't a dog. Liang Shang, in future, when you come to visit Uncle Zhao, don't bring these sorts of gifts. Your uncle doesn't like these sorts of things. All right, next time I definitely won't then. Liang Shang felt a bit confused about Zhao Dahai's words. Dog? What dog? However, he glared at Qin Feng. He hadn't been planning on bringing anything, as it would make him feel like he was a stranger, but did so because of this brat's words. Moreover, seeing him stand so close to Zhao Lingxian, it seemed that they weren't relatives. In an instant, Liang Shang remembered Qin Feng in his heart. I'm having a good time chatting with your Uncle Huang, so I don't have time to entertain you 3 kids. How about this? You young people like to go out all the time, so how about you go out together? Lingxian, remember to come back early, Zhao Dahai said to Qin Feng and the others. Feng I'll wait for you at Uncle Zhao's house then. Don't bring Lingxian back too late, and look after her safety. If she's missing even half a hair, I'll make sure you suffer the consequences, Qin Huang said as he looked at Qin Feng. He then continued to speak with Zhao Dahai and ignored the 3 youngsters. Liang Shang had been ignored this whole time and felt quite displeased. He hurriedly walked over and said while smiling, Lingxian, what do you want to eat? I'll take you to have some good food. Zhao Lingxian looked at him with a stony face. How could she have the appetite to eat while with him? Seeing that she wasn't replying even after a long time, Liang Shang continued to speak. All right, let's go to the royal clubhouse then. There's good food and entertainment there. What do you say? The royal clubhouse. Qin Feng and Zhao Lingxian's mouths curved upwards upon hearing this name. The situation was becoming interesting. Chapter 39. Chapter 39. The whole world became quiet. All right, the royal clubhouse it is. Let's go. Zhao Lingxian suddenly became much happier, and she skipped out of the villa. She had used Qin Feng as a meat shield partially so she could punish him. She wanted him to pay the price for rescinding the marriage and forcing that kiss on her. The capital's Liang family was no ordinary family. Zhao Lingxian became excited just from thinking of the possibility of these 2 men fighting. Women were indeed very dangerous animals. Kid, you can go now. I'm going to have a candlelit dinner with Miss Zhao Lingxian, so you can go off and do your own thing. As soon as they left the villa, Liang Shang discarded his gentlemanly act and looked at Qin Feng like a ruffian. Liang Shang was only 21 years old. He was the youngest in the grandchildren's generation of the capital's Liang family. He was about the same age as Qin Feng. In the capital, he had 2 elder brothers looking after him, so he acted fearlessly and lawlessly, and there was nothing he didn't dare to do. Before, he had showed restraint in front of Zhao Dahai. After all, he needed to act decently in front of his potential father-in-law. However, he was raring to give Qin Feng a good beating. You dare to show me up, young Master Liang? There's no one alive who dares to do such a thing. What a pity. I've already asked Lingxian on a date for tonight, so it looks like the person who will have to leave is you. Qin Feng didn't get angry, and instead calmly smiled at Liang Shang. Anger flashed in Liang Shang's eyes. If they were in the capital and if anyone dared to talk to him like this, he would have slapped them long ago. However, this was the Acropolis city, and Zhao Lingxian was standing right there. As such, he couldn't use violence against Qin Feng, and darkly said, Brat, there are some people you can't afford to offend. Otherwise, You won't even know how you died. Haha, is that so? I want to try it. Qin Feng didn't feel scared at all, and instead gave a dazzling smile. Within the Acropolis city, there really wasn't anyone who he couldn't afford to offend. Liang Shang couldn't help but reevaluate Qin Feng. What sort of background did he have to be able to remain so calm and collected? After falling silent for a few moments, he asked, "Brat, what is your relationship to Zhao Lingxian?" "Liang Shang, he's my boyfriend. You've seen him today, so give up already." Before Qin Feng could even speak, Zhao Lingxian hugged his arm as she coldly looked at Liang Shang. This person relied on the Liang family's background and was incredibly arrogant and self-important. Zhao Lingxian didn't like him at all. On the other hand, while Qin Feng was the Acropolis city's richest man's only son, he didn't have the attitude of a high and mighty young master at all. Unknowingly, Zhao Lingxian had started to compare every man she met to Qin Feng. The smile on Liang Shang's face disappeared, and his face darkened. "Haha, Miss Zhao, if I'm right, he should just be a normal friend. If you really think of him as a friend, don't try to use him to trick me. You know my methods. Anyone who dares to steal my woman won't have a happy ending. You can believe what you want. Let's go. Don't pay any attention to him anymore." Zhao Lingxian felt extremely irritated by such a bare threat, and she pulled Qin Feng as she walked away. Liang Shang suddenly started to laugh coldly. "Miss Zhao, if you're determined to stick to this brat, I'll have to ask Uncle Zhao if he really is your boyfriend or not." Zhao Lingxian suddenly stopped walking. She definitely couldn't allow him to go ask her father. If he did, he would definitely scare her father and Uncle Huang to death. "What do you want?" Zhao Lingxian said as she angrily glared at Liang Shang. "Nothing much. Didn't Miss Zhao say that she would go with me to the royal clubhouse? You can't have forgotten already, right?" A gentlemanly smile reappeared on Liang Shang's face, and he opened the car's door as he said, "If you would please, Miss Zhao. My Porsche 911 can only seat 2 people. As for your friend, if he wants to come, he can take a taxi. However, it's best that he arrives before me. You need to be a VIP to enter the royal clubhouse, so if he's late, he'll only be able to squat outside and have the wind for dinner." Qin Feng might not be able to enter the royal clubhouse? Zhao Lingxian almost wanted to laugh. "Haha, don't worry, Mr. Liang. I've got a private ride." Qin Feng once again calmly smiled. He stretched his hand out to Zhao Lingxian beside him, saying, "Lingxian, if you're not used to riding in sports cars, you can come with me in my private ride." "All right." Without even having to think about it, Zhao Lingxian agreed to go with Qin Feng. However, when she came to Qin Feng's private ride, Zhao Lingxian was dumbfounded. This was an old and shabby retro 28 bicycle. It could already be considered an antique, and it was entirely possible someone had thrown it away. "Qin Feng, can you give yourself some face? You're always trying to look cool with your Batmobile at the university. Are you trying to make me look like an idiot?" Zhao Lingxian secretly gave Qin Feng a savage pinch on his waist and almost stamped her feet in anger. Before, Liang Shang had been full of anger, but when he saw Qin Feng's private ride, he couldn't help but laugh loudly. "Io, holy crap, Miss Zhao, your friend is the most amusing person I've ever met. I'm sure you'll be coming in my Porsche, right? If you go on that bicycle, you'll be having a midnight snack instead, haha." Liang Shang looked at Qin Feng like he was an idiot. Only a mentally deranged person would want to race against his Porsche with an old 28 bicycle. He felt incredibly pleased, and could almost see Zhao Lingxian slapping Qin Feng in anger, then coming over to his Porsche. "You can go first. I quite like riding bicycles at night. You can feel the evening breeze against your skin, and it's eco-friendly too." While Liang Shang was still fantasizing, Zhao Lingxian coldly spoke, completely shocking him. "That's right, bicycles are incredibly convenient. You don't need to refuel, and you can go wherever you want. Come on, Lingxian, Big Brother's going to take you for a good ride." Qin Feng said as he laughed and looked at Liang Shang. Zhao Lingxian had probably never ridden on a bicycle before. After she got on, she couldn't help swaying. In the end, Qin Feng wrapped an arm around her and hugged her from behind, thus stabilizing the bicycle. Feeling Qin Feng so close to her, Zhao Lingxian couldn't help but think of the passionate kiss they had shared. Her face couldn't help but become red. Luckily, it was quite dark, so it wasn't quite visible. Mr. Liang, we'll be leaving first. You should drive quickly, or we won't wait for you and we'll go in and play if you're too slow. Qin Feng started to pedal the bicycle as he felt Zhao Lingxian's slim waist, happily leaving. This was the first time he had ridden on a bike as well, and at first, he couldn't control it quite well. They swayed quite violently, causing Zhao Lingxian to yell and pinch him many times. However, Qin Feng was able to learn quite quickly and steadily rode along with Zhao Lingxian amidst the evening breeze. Seeing the two people slowly disappearing, Liang Shang was so furious that he almost wanted to crash into Qin Feng and kill him. He continuously cursed inwardly. You want to arrive first on a crappy and old bicycle? Your head must have been kicked by a donkey. And so what if you arrive first? Without a VIP card, you'll still have to goddamn wait for your elder to take you in. Aw, Qin Feng, what's that under you? It's all hard and it's sticking into my butt. After exiting the district, Zhao Lingxian found that there was something odd. She felt quite uncomfortable with something hard poking her butt. She reached out to move it away, but when her hand came into contact with it, it was as if she had lost her soul and her body froze. Qin Feng let out a moan in pleasure. Ah! Qin Feng, stop the bicycle. I want to get off right now. I'm going to kill you. You beast. You pervert. Aw. Zhao Lingxian started to go crazy and furiously struggled in protest. The bicycle violently swayed, and they almost crashed multiple times. Qin Feng also felt a bit awkward. He quickly tried to calm her down. Little sister Lingxian, stop making a ruckus. The more you do this, the longer it's going to take for it to settle down. Zhao Lingxian suddenly stopped moving and peacefully sat on the bicycle for 2 minutes, which felt like 2 centuries. However, that thing indeed settled down. A bustling night view greeted their eyes, and a cool breeze from the river blew over. Zhao Lingxian felt as if she had returned to her younger days, when her mother had stolen all of their money and left their family almost penniless. During that period of time, her father had ridden this sort of 28 bicycle to take her to school. Although they would often be laughed at by richer students, Zhao Lingxian remembered and treasured those moments dearly. This was because only when she went to school or came back from school could she spend time with her father. She felt incredibly blissful and safe while riding with her father. Little sister Lingxian, you can't have fallen asleep, right? Qin Feng felt a bit weird after seeing that Zhao Lingxian had fallen silent after making a ruckus the entire trip. Qin Feng, in future, can you take me riding on your bicycle as well? Zhao Lingxian was in a bit of a daze, and a rare look of bliss appeared on her face. After saying this, even she felt a bit shocked. She found that she was slowly starting to rely on Qin Feng. Sure, as long as you're not afraid of hard things poking your butt, I'm fine with it, Qin Feng teased. Zhao Lingxian once again started to yell and pinched his leg many times, before suddenly saying, Qin Feng, can you ride faster? No problem. After speaking, he started to accelerate. After breaking through to stage 1 and drinking 2 strength potions, Qin Feng's body was incredibly strong. He continuously accelerated, and his legs actually started to leave behind afterimages. After breaking through to stage 1, he hadn't truly trained his body, so this was decent training for him. The gentle evening breeze became quite intense. If it wasn't because Qin Feng was holding down Zhao Lingxian's skirt, she would have felt like she was going to fly off. The trees on the side blurred and quickly disappeared, and they even left cars behind them. They were moving so fast, and it seemed that the air was moving so fast that Zhao Lingxian found it difficult to breathe. She slowly closed her eyes and let a smile bloom on her face. Just like a blossoming flower, she looked so beautiful that she could cause someone to become intoxicated just from looking at her. However, it only lasted for a moment before it disappeared. She suddenly remembered many things from her childhood. She had been a lonely child who had been abandoned by her mother. She was a young girl who lacked joy and happiness in her childhood. She was a cold and arrogant princess, a poor bug whose marriage had been rescinded. She recalled memories from primary school until now, and her tears slid down her face. It was quiet all around them, and all they could hear was the wind. However, she quite enjoyed this feeling. She even thought that just riding like this, with Qin Feng pedaling and her sitting in front of him, it wouldn't be too bad to ride until the end of time. At least, at this moment, she didn't feel lonely and didn't feel like she was the only person in the world. Chapter 40. Chapter 40. A woman joins the battle. Clocklet. Little sister Lin, we're here. The voice in her ears suddenly brought her back to reality. She opened her eyes and almost fell off the bicycle. The words Royal Clubhouse glowed brightly in front of her eyes. Qin Feng, how did we get here? Zhao Lingxian was completely dumbfounded. Her house was at least 20 kilometers away from the Royal Clubhouse. Even by car, it would take at least 20 minutes. However, Zhao Lingxian felt like she had just recalled some memories from the past, and when she opened her eyes, they had arrived. It was simply too magical. We got here by bicycle, of course. You're sitting on my bicycle, remember? You didn't get your brain blown out by the wind, did you? Qin Feng smiled, but didn't tell Zhao Lingxian that he had pushed his body to the limit and had ridden at 80 kilometers per hour. You're the one who has no brain. I'm getting off. Zhao Lingxian glared at Qin Feng, then got off the bike with Qin Feng's help. Young Master Qin, you're here. At this moment, an eagle-eyed doorman ran over. Seeing Qin Feng ride a bike with a girl on it, he couldn't help but marvel at his seducing techniques. It seemed that he definitely deserved his title of the #1 seducer sage of the Acropolis city. Give this bicycle a parking spot. Don't let anyone steal it. Qin Feng casually gave the doorman a $1,000 tip and held Zhao Lingxian's hand as he walked into the Royal Clubhouse. Spendthrift, Zhao Lingxian said as she glared at Qin Feng. Even if this bicycle was left on the streets, no one would probably want it. And yet, he had given that person a $1,000 tip for looking after it. He was a super spendthrift. When Qin Feng and Zhao Lingxian walked into the clubhouse, the attendants all came to greet them. Welcome, young Master Qin. Welcome, Miss Zhao. Qin Feng waved his hand, sending them away, and sat down with Zhao Lingxian on a sofa in the main hall. It seems that Mr. Pretty Boy isn't here yet. Little sister Lingxian, let's get a room and have some food first. Qin Feng had gone to Zhao Lingxian's house to eat, but because of Liang Sheng popping up, he still hadn't eaten. By now, he was quite hungry. Zhao Lingxian curled up into a ball on the sofa. Her face became quite pale and she weakly said, Qin Feng, I feel a bit cold. My stomach problem's back. Qin Feng felt Zhao Lingxian's arm, which was indeed quite cold. It was possible that on the way here, he rode too quickly, causing her to endure the cold wind. He wrapped his arm around Zhao Lingxian, letting her lie in his embrace. He then waved his hand and asked an attendant to bring over a glass of warm water. What are you doing? Hurry up and let me go. You big pervert, you won't even behave in public. Feeling Qin Feng's embrace, Zhao Lingxian felt incredibly complicated and quite embarrassed. She was extremely angry about Qin Feng's groping. However, Qin Feng didn't do as Zhao Lingxian wished. He understood this cold and arrogant princess personality. When she wasn't being obedient, he needed to use some tough tactics. Beauty Lingxian, if you continue to struggle, I'll have to deal with you the normal way. Qin Feng grinned as he looked at Zhao Lingxian, as if he was a starving wolf eyeing a plate of delicious food. Zhao Lingxian immediately calmed down. If Qin Feng kissed her in public, she would die of embarrassment. She coldly glared at Qin Feng and complained, How did a beast like you live for so long? Soon, the warm water was brought over. Qin Feng took out the stomach medicine from his pocket and personally fed it to Zhao Lingxian. Zhao Lingxian's eyes became slightly red. She never expected that Qin Feng would carry the medicine on him. She couldn't help but admit that with his handsome appearance, combined with his kindness and tenderness, it was no wonder he was able to sleep with so many women. Qin Feng, it really is you. Just as Zhao Lingxian finished taking the medicine, a pleasant voice sounded out. Lin Beibei had just come back from caring for her mother in the hospital. She was shyly wondering if Qin Feng would come to the room to sleep tonight when she saw another familiar figure. Lin Beibei emotionally ran over. She recognized Qin Feng, but the excitement within her heart suddenly disappeared because she saw Zhao Lingxian cutely lying in Qin Feng's embrace. Lin Beibei simply couldn't bear to disrupt this sweet scene of this handsome man and beautiful woman paired together. Inwardly, she felt as if her heart had been stabbed by a needle, for some unknown reason. Ah, Beibei, have you eaten yet? Even Qin Feng felt a bit awkward after suddenly seeing Lin Beibei, while he embraced Zhao Lingxian. Zhao Lingxian suddenly remembered the scene at the sports field. Qin Feng sweating profusely and Lin Beibei handing him a bottle of water, with Qin Feng then patting Lin Beibei on the head. Inconceivably, Zhao Lingxian edged more into Qin Feng's embrace and put her arms around his neck, coldly and arrogantly looking at Lin Beibei. Hello, classmate Beibei. Hello, I have something to do. I'll be leaving first. Lin Beibei's brain froze for a moment. Her good mood plummeted, and she hurriedly ran off like a frightened rabbit. Zhao Lingxian's expression became cold. She pushed aside Qin Feng as she icily said, "Young Master Qin, you're quite impressive. In just a few days, you've won over the university's pure beauty, Lin Beibei. You've even gotten her to come to the clubhouse to have fun with you. Aren't you a romantic and loose one?" Zhao Lingxian was a beautiful and intelligent woman. She knew what sort of family background Lin Beibei had, and her being at the royal clubhouse was definitely because of Qin Feng's arrangements. Apart from getting intimate, why would she come to the royal clubhouse so late at night? To study with Qin Feng? Qin Feng had never had worries about women before, but he felt as if his head was going to explode. Just as he was going to explain the matter with Lin Beibei, a woman with a beautiful face and sexy body elegantly walked over. Seeing her, Qin Feng almost wanted to run into a wall. "Yo, young Master Qin, I've looked for you for so many days, but couldn't find you. You must be even busier than the president of a country." This was the #1 beauty of the Jincheng city, Han Ying. She had come to the Acropolis city to discuss business with Qin Feng. However, after meeting him at the cocktail party, she couldn't find him no matter where she searched. She had decided to try her luck and come to the royal clubhouse. After all, this was Qin Feng's holy land of pleasure, and she had succeeded in finding him. "Yo, Miss Zhao's here too." After seeing Zhao Lingxian, a look of surprise flashed in her eyes. Han Ying casually sat down next to Qin Feng and leaned in towards him as she coyly said, "Young Master Qin, there's some serious matters I want to discuss with you. I'm not sure if young Master Qin has any time tonight. It might take up the entire night." Shameless. Zhao Lingxian couldn't stand Han Ying's flirtation and coldly harumphed. Han Ying looked at Zhao Lingxian and lightly laughed, saying, "I'm shameless? At least I'm not like a certain someone, sticking on to young Master Qin despite having their marriage rescinded by him." These two exquisite beauties had begun fighting as soon as they saw each other. One was a queen who had much experience in the business world. The other was a glacial goddess who was still in university. Who knew who would win? Chapter 41. Chapter 41. Rather be struck to death by lightning 100 times. Han Ying's expression didn't change, but Zhao Lingxian was so furious that she wanted to vomit blood. One couldn't help but admit that this woman was quite vicious and savage. Her lovely upturned eyes seemed to be able to see a person's weak points, and every word she spoke could cut into other people's hearts. "Han Ying, aren't you selling your body just for some money? What right do you have to speak badly of me?" Zhao Lingxian was so angry that she stood up. If it wasn't for Qin Feng blocking the two women, they probably would have started fighting. Once women went crazy, even the heavens and earth could not tolerate it. Oomph! Han Ying's smile disappeared. Indeed, in order to do business, she often went to many cocktail parties and banquets to flirt with the sons of the wealthy and noble. However, no one knew how much pain and bitterness she put up with in order to develop her family's business. She was willing to flirt, but would never actually do the deed. In the end, she was a woman who valued purity. And now, Hearing Zhao Lingxian say such things, a flame burned in her eyes. She looked at Zhao Lingxian as she said, "Miss Zhao, you're from the upper-class society, so please show some restraint when speaking. Have you personally seen me get into bed with a man? Or could it be that when I got into bed with a man, you were also there? Otherwise, how could you know?" As soon as Han Ying said this, Qin Feng knew that things were spiraling out of control. These two women both had powerful family backgrounds. Even Qin Feng would feel scared if they started to fight. At this moment, an even more terrifying, cold, electronic voice sounded out in his mind. "Ding! The Hedonist sovereign system has issued a quest. Make Zhao Lingxian and Han Ying interact harmoniously for 10 minutes. Quest time limit, 24 hours. Successfully completing the quest will result in you receiving 100 Hedonist points. Failing will result in the Zhao family and Han family engaging in an intense business war." Qin Feng's mouth tweaked. He would rather be struck to death by lightning 100 times. On the other hand, Liang Shang had been quite angry the whole trip as he drove in his Porsche 911 to the Royal Clubhouse. Business was excellent tonight, and the large parking lot was filled with many luxury cars. He went around the parking lot a few times, and finally found 2 free spaces. Just as he was about to park into one of them, a man wearing a security uniform and holding an electric baton angrily walked over. "Apologies, sir, but you can't park here." Liang Shang was already furious, and now he had been stopped from parking by a security officer. He angrily got out of the car and came in front of the security officer, pointing at him as he started to loudly curse, "Are you goddamn blind? There are 2 parking spaces there. Why can't I park there? I'll have you know that your granddaddy is the Royal Clubhouse's VIP. If you anger your granddaddy, a single phone call from me is enough to get you fired." After being cursed at like that, the security officer's expression became cold. Normally, if a visitor cursed at time, he would simply endure it. After all, everyone who came here were extremely wealthy and powerful. However, tonight, he was filled with confidence. He was looking after young Master Qin's ride. He pointed back at Liang Shang and cursed back at him, "Open your dog eyes and have a good look. These 2 parking spaces are already occupied." Liang Shang had never been cursed at by a security officer. He stared at the security officer in shock before looking at the 2 seemingly empty parking spaces. Only then did he find that there was an inconspicuous 28 bicycle parked there. It had even taken up 2 parking spaces in an extremely overbearing manner. Moreover, this bicycle looked extremely familiar. It seemed to be the one that Zhao Lingxian and her fake boyfriend had left on. Although he was angry, Liang Shang was more shocked by far. He never would have thought that Qin Feng would arrive faster than him on an old bicycle. After all, he was driving a Porsche. He even started to suspect whether this bicycle was really Qin Feng's. Maybe they just looked similar. Was this brought here by a man and a beautiful woman? Liang Sheng asked with a darkened face. Why do I need to tell you? Anyways, these 2 parking spaces are taken, so go park somewhere else. Otherwise, I won't be courteous anymore." The security officer acted extremely arrogantly towards Liang Shang, as if he disdained even speaking with him. He patted the electric baton in his hands and viciously looked at Liang Shang. Because young Master Qin had personally given him this bike to look after, he had reserved 2 parking spaces for it. If some blind driver accidentally ran over this old 28 bicycle or scraped some paint off it, he wouldn't know what to say to young Master Qin. Liang Shang and the security officer faced off for a while, after which Liang Shang angrily drove away. He found a good parking space near the Royal Clubhouse and quickly walked in. When he saw Qin Feng standing in between the 2 beauties trying to pacify them, Liang Shang became certain that the old bicycle that had overbearingly taken up 2 parking spaces was definitely Qin Feng's. It seemed that he didn't have an ordinary background if he was able to enter the Royal Clubhouse and take up 2 parking spaces. However, so what? No matter how influential someone was in the Acropolis city, they would still be nothing to the capital's Liang family. Liang Shang walked over to the 3 of them as he gave a gentlemanly smile. "Miss Zhao, apologies. I had something important to do on the way, so I ended up coming a bit late." Naturally, he wouldn't admit that he had driven at his fastest speed to the Royal Clubhouse. Liang Shang felt like coughing up blood after thinking that he had been beaten by an old bicycle. Zhao Lingxian and Han Yingying had just finished having their fight, and neither had a pleasant expression. They sat down and turned away from each other. As such, no one paid any attention to Liang Shang. Haha, seeing that you've been sitting out here, you probably haven't reserved a room yet. I'll go arrange it now. After all, not just anyone can book a room here. Liang Shang awkwardly smiled, looked at Qin Feng condescending, then elegantly walked over to the reception. Han Yingying looked at Liang Shang's back in slight confusion. Even though she didn't know where he had come from and his relationship with Qin Feng, his words sounded quite funny. Qin Feng had finally calmed down the two women when Liang Shang, that little scumbag, had come over and tried to look cool. He felt quite annoyed and took out his phone to call the reception, telling them not to give Liang Shang a room. Not too long after, Liang Shang came back with a darkened face, angrily cursing, "Humph, what a crappy clubhouse. Their elder is a silver card member, and yet they told me that all the rooms are fully booked. Lucky for them, this is the Acropolis city. If it was the capital, I would have ordered people to smash the place." "Lingxian, just wait for a moment. I have a good brother here. He's the general manager, and I'll give him a call to get him to come over and arrange a presidential room for us." Liang Shang ran off to the side to make a call, and neither Zhao Lingxian and Han Yingying could be bothered to pay any attention to him. Both of them knew Qin Feng's background and status, and knew that Liang Shang trying to act big simply made him look like a little clown. Before anything happened, they already knew what was going to happen to him. Chapter 42. Chapter 42. Intercepted halfway. After a while, a man in a suit and tie walked out. It was the Royal Clubhouse's customer manager, Wang Qi. After making the phone call, Liang Shang had been on the lookout the entire time. Seeing Wang Qi walking over, he hurriedly went up to him and said, "Brother Wang, I hope you've been well." "Haha, young Master Liang, I never thought that you would have the time to come here and play today. If you need anything, please let me know." In his previous visits to Acropolis City, Liang Shang had heard that the Royal Clubhouse was the highest-class entertainment facility. He had visited there a few times to play, and had gotten to know Wang Qi. Wang Qi saw that this person was quite generous and could count as a big shot. Every time, he received quite a bit in tips, so he always treated Liang Shang quite well. When he saw that Liang Shang had come to play again, it was as if he had seen rolls of new banknotes. "Haha, there's a small matter I'll need to trouble Brother Wang with," Liang Shang said as he smiled. "Tonight, I came with a few friends to have some fun. However, the lady at the reception said that all of the rooms were booked. Would it be possible for Brother Wang to arrange a luxurious room for us? Money is no problem, as long as we don't lose face, right?" Wang Qi frowned when he heard this. Indeed, there were often luxurious rooms reserved for important people. There was also Qin Feng's room 888 that was never open to the public, as it was Qin Feng's private room. As of now, there were still 2 luxurious rooms that were open to public. Why had the receptionist said that the rooms were all full? Wang Qi took Liang Shang and angrily came to the reception. Liang Shang pointed out the receptionist who hadn't given him a room, and Wang Qi looked at her while coldly asking, "What's going on?" "There's a guest who wants to hire a room. But you told him that all the rooms are full? Aren't there still 2 rooms?" The receptionist didn't expect Liang Shang to know Manager Wang. Under normal circumstances, she definitely would have followed Manager Wang's orders. However, she wasn't fearful at all, as it was young Master Qin who had personally given her this order. Even if there were 10 Manager Wangs questioning her, she wouldn't be afraid. "Manager Wang, all of the rooms are booked," the receptionist calmly said as she blinked at Wang Qi, trying to signal at him. However, Wang Qi didn't notice this and instead became angry. "You're still saying they're all booked? Do you want me to take you to see those 2 empty rooms yourself? What's wrong with you? Do you not want to work here anymore?" Upon seeing Wang Qi become so angry, the receptionist felt a little wronged and had to explain herself. "Manager Wang, the higher-ups said that those 2 rooms aren't for hire." Wang Qi was surprised. He wasn't sure who she was referring to by the higher-ups. Apart from the general manager, He had the most power at the royal clubhouse. Since General Manager Liu had taken leave today, could there be someone even higher? Who was it? Tell him to come over here. I want to see who it is that is so rich and powerful that they don't want more business. I'll have you know, I want those rooms opened, even if young Master Qin comes. Wang Qi angrily spoke as he pointed at the receptionist. However, the beautiful receptionist didn't seem anxious at all. Instead, she revealed a gloating smile, because the person standing right behind Manager Wang was young Master Qin. Ah, Lil Wang, you're quite right. It's me who gave the order. Is there anything you're not happy about? Qin Feng's voice suddenly rang out from behind Wang Qi. Wang Qi felt that this voice sounded quite familiar. When he turned around, he was so shocked that he almost fell to the ground. Liang Shang still hadn't realized what was happening. When he saw that Qin Feng had come over, he felt like his intestines were going to explode from anger. Since this brat was determined to make trouble for him, he would definitely make him pay for it. Yo, kid, you're acting quite big. You're the boss of this royal clubhouse, eh? You think you can stop your elder from getting a room? Liang Shang looked at Qin Feng with an expression of mockery. He pointed at Wang Qi and condescending said, "Look here, brat, this is my good brother. He's the general manager of the royal clubhouse. He's the top gun around here. Who do you think you are?" Noticing that Qin Feng's bicycle had taken up 2 spaces and that he could enter the royal clubhouse by himself, Liang Shang guessed that he knew someone here. At the very most, he probably knew a supervisor or deputy manager. Now, with Wang Qi standing next to him, he wanted to stick it to Qin Feng's face. You want to steal your elder's woman? You're too naive. General Manager Wang, give me a luxurious room now. I want to see what this brat can do. You came here riding on a crappy 28 bicycle and you're trying to act all high and mighty? Your elder's going to whip your face open. Liang Shang released all of the savage words he had pinned up inside of him. However, despite waiting for a while, he didn't see Wang Qi doing anything. When he looked over, he saw Wang Qi staring Qin Feng with a look of terror. His mouth opened and closed many times, without being able to say anything. Brother Wang, are you all right? Hurry up and find me a room. You know there'll be a big tip for you. Liang Sheng once again urged Wang Qi. Wang Qi still hadn't completely recovered from his shock. Qin Feng laughed and said, Yo, General Manager Wang, when did you get promoted to General Manager? Even I didn't know. Wang Qi felt like running into a wall and dying. He had been blinded by greed and had wanted to open a luxurious room for Liang Shang so he could earn a tip. As for his claim that he wouldn't give Qin Feng face, that was simply him talking big. Now, with Qin Feng in front of him, Wang Qi's expression was somber, as though his entire family had died. He half cried as he spluttered, Young Master Qin, this lowly one truly didn't know it was your order. Otherwise, even if it was the mayor of Acropolis City, I definitely wouldn't give him a room, let alone some crappy young Master Liang. Young Master Qin, the ignorant should not be held responsible. Please forgive this lowly one this time. A 30-year-old man was pleading and begging in public. Liang Shang felt quite shocked at the sight of this. He suddenly realized that the royal clubhouse was owned by the Acropolis City's richest man, Qin Huang, and that Wang Qi was addressing this young man as young Master Qin. He was acting like he would even go so far as to kneel down and lick his boots. Apart from Qin Huang's only son, Qin Feng, who else would be able to wield such power? Thinking to the fact that he had requested to come to Qin Feng's family's clubhouse to have fun, and had mocked Qin Feng the entire way, Liang Sheng's face almost turned green. He wanted to dice Qin Feng up into small pieces. So what if you're Qin Feng? Brat, just you wait and see. I'll have you know that you're just a young master in the Acropolis City. Before the capital's Liang family, you're just like an ant. Liang Shang had lost all of his face today and had none left to continue to stay here. After spitting out some savage words, he stormed out of the royal clubhouse. Ding! Congratulations, host Qin Feng, for completing the quest to make Zhao Lingxian and Han Ying interact harmoniously for 10 minutes. You have received 100 hedonist points. Just as Liang Shang left, a cold, electronic voice rang out in Qin Feng's mind. He looked towards the sofa in dismay and saw that the two women with completely different personalities, but who were both as beautiful as celestial goddesses, were sitting back to back. They both looked spaced out, and he had no idea what they were thinking. Quest could be completed just like that? Qin Feng almost couldn't believe it. Ling Xian, Liang Sheng stormed off in anger. Do you want to get some food? Qin Feng came over to the two women and asked. At the beginning, the two women were inwardly cursing at each other, but after a while, they both lapsed into each other's thoughts. Zhao Lingxian was wondering what the relationship between Qin Feng and Lin Bei was. Normally, after Qin Feng had his way with a woman, he wouldn't meet her for a second time. However, Lin Bei seemed to be an exception, which made Zhao Lingxian feel quite unhappy. Han Ying was plotting how to make Qin Feng hers. From the information she had, Qin Feng was just a sensualistic and hedonistic young master. Before, Han Ying was completely confident that she could win him over, but she slowly found out that he wasn't exactly as her information had described. Just like that, lost in their own thoughts, the two women had interacted harmoniously for 10 minutes, which allowed Qin Feng to complete the quest. No, it's all right. A certain someone has ruined my mood tonight, so I want to go home. Zhao Lingxian stood up and coldly glared at Han Ying, then walked out of the royal clubhouse. Miss Han, I'll be taking Lingxian home. We can talk more if we meet again in future. Qin Feng smiled at Han Ying, then chased after Zhao Lingxian. When she saw Qin Feng leave, Han Ying's eyes were filled with anger and reluctance. She silently vowed, Qin Feng, just you wait. I'll definitely make you mine someday, and make you completely obedient to me. Just like how they had come, Qin Feng speedily took Zhao Lingxian back on his 28 bicycle. Perhaps it was because she wasn't in a very good mood, but Zhao Lingxian spaced out during the entire trip and didn't speak to Qin Feng. When they reached the Zhao family's villa, Zhao Lingxian gave a simple greeting to her father and Qin Huang, then went upstairs. Seeing that Qin Huang and Uncle Zhao were still in high spirits and wouldn't be finished talking for a while, Qin Feng left first and rode to the Royal Hotel on his bicycle. After completing 2 quests tonight, Qin Feng had obtained 300 hedonist points. He was anxious to spend them and obtain another 3 lottery chances. He pedaled faster and faster, and his Retro 28 bicycle shot through the streets like an arrow. As he sped forwards, Qin Feng began to sweat profusely. He suddenly found that riding the bicycle was a pretty good way to exercise, and decided to replace his incredibly flashy Batmobile with it. In order to reach the Royal Hotel as quickly as possible, Qin Feng had gone through quite a few small roads. At the end of the small road he was riding on, a pair of headlights suddenly lit up, forcing him to stop as he couldn't see. Qin Feng left the bicycle on the ground and held his hands in front of him. He squinted through the gaps in his fingers, trying to see what was going on. A skinny and tall figure stood in front of the car's lights. Qin Feng couldn't see his features, but could see that he had his right hand raised. Within that hand was something black, which was pointed at him. Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, a wave of wild laughter echoed out. As soon as Qin Feng heard this voice, he realized what was going on. It was Liang Sheng. Qin Feng, young Master Qin. Liang Sheng laughed for a while before speaking, his voice dripping with sarcasm. You think you're really cool, right? Your hands can cover the sky in Acropolis City, and no one dares to offend you. Ha ha, your elders seen many hedonistic young masters like you. You're just a frog in a well. Your elder has said it before. You're still too tender to fight with me. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.